Welcome to the Aubrey Municipal District Board meeting on January 9th, 2024 at the Aubrey MDD building. We'll now call the meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. And we will take a roll call to determine if quorum is present. Please say here when I read your name. Holly Drew here. Carolyn Cashin. Carolyn Cashin.
You want to do that after?
Do you want me to?
Let's do it after all the roll.
Okay. Carolyn Cashin not here. Mike Browning.
Here.
Vicki Dunn. Here. Bessie Aller.
Here.
Aaron Bogart. Here. Mark Arbonowski.
He was absent today. He had to work overtime.
Okay. So there is a quorum. I'm going to read this from Carolyn. She submitted her resignation on January 7th. I am writing this letter to you to let you know that I'm resigning from my position as Vice President and Board Member of the Aubrey MDD, effective January 8th, 2024. I regret the short notice. I have 2 new development projects that have started this month. I hope, but wasn't sure these were going to make it till this past week. They will require me to be out of town for 2 to 3 days every week for the next year. It has been a pleasure serving the Aubrey MDD board for the last many years. I've enjoyed working on all the projects in the past and regret not being able to be part of the great growth of Aubrey over the next few years. I've enjoyed working with my fellow board members in the growth of the Aubrey MDD and all the accomplishments this board has made over the last years. I wish you all success in the future and thank you for your understanding. Sincerely, Carolyn Cashin.
And she had written the letter yesterday, but she emailed it to us today. So like an hour before,
So
2
are
hours
we
before.
putting that on the agenda for next month, or is the council taking action on it this month, so we don't have to?
No, we'll have to put it on next month because we didn't have notice till today. So I just wanted her to, I didn't get a chance to forward the letter to y'all, so.
Can the city council take action on it without our approval?
No, they'll,
They could.
I mean, they could.
Okay.
Can, but they don't have to.
Okay. I understand.
Recommendations, so there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, right.
What I'll do is post a Facebook post tomorrow with ours, like I did before, with our MDD openings applications available. And then we'll see who turns some in and we'll review them at the next meeting, make a recommendation, and then you all can, we'll take it to council after.
Gotcha. Take both of them. Okay,
Right.
gotcha.
So,
We will now stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mike, will you lead us in the invocation?
Sure, that's great. Father, we come before you this evening with joy in our hearts to be able to just come together and to work on this project together on the board. Pray that you would guide our steps, that you would give our wisdom, and to be open to change when change is needed. And Lord, just to be good stewards of the responsibilities entitled to us and to us. In our Christ's Lord's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Are there any community announcements?
Charles, do we have any announcements? Okay.
Okay. Is there anyone here or on the Zoom call that had citizen input and would like to speak?
No one is on the call.
All right, moving on. We are now moving on to the consent items, which include December meeting minutes and the December and completed November financials.
So let me pull up the consent sheet. And y'all have all that emailed out to you, so if you have any questions?
I have a few questions. Jaresh backhoe for specific charges. Does not know some of the coding. November.
Okay. That, I looked that up the other day myself. Let me get my.
It's definitely like this.
There you go.
What was the amount, Vicky?
120.
Okay,
I didn't know if that had to do with the tin building or.
I went over that with Andrea the other day and I'm making notes.
We're good. There you go, your booth. Here, that's the one.
It has to, I had asked, Andrea the other day about that and I wrote it down, but hang on, put those notes in my binder. Here we go.
And kind of same for Longhorn screens and Ace screens.
Oh, okay, well, that is for, the Longhorn screens is what, they didn't bill us until October, it was for the front windows here. Put screens on them for the sun coming in, cause I realized it was getting really hot. And I did, can I get back to you? I promise you that is a valid expense on the dress backhoe. We had a different, it was a weird name for a service, but some of those things were the P card that hit in, they were in October and they hit in November.
And do you remember what the Ace screens, was it the same thing?
Uh,
Was it different
The
company
Ace
for
is, it says screens, but it's, that was for the door. When I did all these weather strippings, we did Ace Handyman is the company that did it. So that was for weather stripping because our door was not shutting right either and they fixed that.
those?
And I promise I'll get back to you on the 120 and because I did have, Andrea look it up for me.
And then just kind of a question on some of the, I know that you have the.
Oh, sorry, charcoal. That was the key word that reminded me. Y'all remember we had the smell in the building from the gas, the sewer gas and everything? Well, I think when they did these little stacks up here, you notice there's a black top on it now on the white PVC pipe that comes up, the sewer gas comes up out of the building. The lines, that black topping is a charcoal odor absorbent topper, and that is the company that did that. Thank you, sorry. I knew I was.
And then the only other question that I had was regarding, I know that you have the key card, I know there's a budget, but I didn't know, do you go over with anybody kind of what the, like, there's, you know, $200, $250 kind of charge for DNL, I just didn't know if you were going.
That's
over-
building maintenance. So the P card is everything that is budgeted for that y'all approved in the budget.
I
And I
understand.
followed the city of Aubrey purchasing policy and I,
I understand there's a budget, that's why I said I understand there's a budget, but if it's maintenance, shouldn't it go under maintenance and not office supplies?
Oh, for that.
I mean, we can switch it to office supply or maintenance. Some of that last year depended if it was for true maintenance of the building or if it was, because it's an outdoor flower bed. So, I mean, it could be maintenance, but we could put it in office supply. Or which, I mean, if y'all want to switch it, I can start switching
No,
it, but I
I
have to
know
start
what-
filling those
what was.
beds. Yeah.
Well, and then my other question is the chamber contributing to all the flower beds and the planters and all that kind of stuff?
No, they pay all the utilities here. We haven't been paying any utilities, so we've just been doing the planters. She did help arrange getting those planters and getting them done by the students at Aubrey High School. Now that I've got a lot of the soil in there too, I don't anticipate too much more expenses. It took me a while to figure out how much soil it takes to fill those things up.
And then do we, the 216 for the Chamber of Commerce for November?
Oh, that is for our lunch tickets. That is not under our sponsorship, so we, I noticed it went under Chamber of Commerce, but those are tickets that we purchased annually for the full year of lunches for attending. So technically, I could have that moved if y'all want to put it under travel and training, because that's where I usually put meetings for attending meetings where we have any kind of food.
What'd you have, Lily?
It's under Chamber of Commerce where we had 0 on the budget, but that's just because it got charged there. But it can be moved.
Yeah, I think we should probably do that. Cause if you look at the history of that account,
It's
that
there.
account was breaks.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So if you go back even.
I'll ask
one
them
fiscal
to
year,
move it. I'll ask Mike to move it in encode.
Those are all the questions.
I have a question on the PNL Conference Hotel. We have 3 different charges on it. Is that because we didn't get the same room rate? or-
It's because 3 of us went and I used
Yeah.
the credit card.
I was, so like, I was late, I was a late, probably, and I think I did, valet where they didn't, because there was no parking, so that was probably on me. I can pay back that valet, but that was,
Yeah, no, it wasn't, we had 3 different groups, we had 3 different.
yeah,
Oh, well, and I stayed another, you just stayed
no,
one
it's,
night or
mine's
2.
more
Okay,
difficult.
oh, yours was,
They're
okay.
close, but they're not.
Okay, it's Holly's fault. She got valet parking.
It was, and then my,
Parking would be very much an expense.
Yeah.
Well, it is. That's why I
They all-
wasn't really concerned about it and
if they all had,
didn't put an explanation on there, sorry.
oh, you're good.
That's right, fine, that's usually not-
Well, that's the issue that I was talking to, Mike English about if there was a way for you to explain, you know, but he said that they couldn't add another column to, yeah,
In detail.
just so that we could have like an explanation of what the charge, what that charge was, you know?
No,
but-
we almost have to have one back to the invoice if you-
Well,
Exactly.
I
So
do
that's-
have a
it's not
P
really-
card report that
Yeah,
is detailed.
and that's
And I
perfect.
copy Holly on that every time I give my P card report to the city.
Yeah.
So
this week.
someone on the board is
Starting
seeing
this
it. I do have a detail and then they put it under the line items where I ask them to. So,
That's a new process.
It is, it just started this month.
yes, so the names of the companies sometimes throw me off, like that, who knew a backhoe company did the charcoal covers, but depends on the name of the company and who's charging you on your P
Mhm.
card. So that's how that gets confusing, but yes, does that answer all those other? Okay. So I'll have the Chamber of Commerce, tickets, what, moved to travel and training.
Oh, I think it's something different.
Christine, when you submit an expense report, is there a specific form or Excel spreadsheet you use, or is that just documentation that comes from Paul?
I just use the card statement and then I turn in my receipts and I have a spreadsheet I use to fill out with all the debt detail. So it's pretty straightforward. So what I'm gonna do is, I'll try to, next time I send you all the financials, if there's a weird stuff on the P card that doesn't really explain it, I'll just put it in your email for the consent agenda items. And that'll help cut down on some of that confusion. Do you want me to move, do we want dirt and flowers to be office supply or building maintenance?
No, I just wanted to know what.
Okay.
I wanted to know what it was.
Okay. I was feeling like it was kind of office supply because it was outdoor decor, but
I mean.
it is a little bit of maintenance, but anyway, it's,
I could. Just when you see something like DNL and there is no backup, you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, the backups with the P card.
Yeah.
Report, so,
Okay, cool.
okay.
So do I have a motion?
well,
Wait.
we wanted to, we don't have the full December.
December, we don't, so we need to move
The
that.
only thing missing from
Turn it up.
December is the P card report, which is, if y'all want, I could pop it up for you on the screen. If y'all want to look at what I turned in. I just turned it in yesterday.
So it's the bigger, the charges are in there.
Yes, what will be showing up next month, once he gets it all in, it'll be in there. Yeah, and Holly can, yeah, thank you. Be easier. So if y'all want to look at that, then you could go ahead and approve both months.
So these aren't in the financials.
No, because I just turned them in yesterday.
So if you want to pull it
They
out.
would
we can.
not.
Yeah, I'd like to pull this over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we're just approving November.
November, yeah, we'll pull out December's.
And I don't have any comment on, 12th, I couldn't be here, so I'll rely on the teammates here that were here to, tell us if those are back here.
Yes. Mine was here.
Yeah, but I looked at the December ones and I personally didn't find any discrepancy.
The only discrepancy, it's not even, no, we're good.
Yeah, anything on instructions, when those get.
Did I miss a
added,
period
future.
somewhere? I forget the dot and I
No, you're good.
On your summer thing, if we, once they're added into the code, all right? Yeah, so.
Oh,
What
it's-
you have in the packet
Yeah.
is reflective of that.
What was it? Okay.
It's in the front of the name. That's why I did that way.
Anyway, okay, cool. So do I have, we're gonna pull out, we're gonna table December's financials. And then do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion.
Agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, not inclusive of the December 2023 financials.
Awesome. All right, Jesse.
Vicky seconded.
Yes,
Okay.
Jesse made the motion. Vicky seconded, all in favor? Motion passes 5. All right, moving on. Our executive director will now present the staff report.
Okay. Does that say that? That's, okay. It's on this screen, that's why. Oh, geez. Okay, so as y'all got the staff reports attached in your email. And we are moving, in the last meeting in December, we asked that the mural project discussion of an RFP be moved to the February meeting, so that line, that future agenda item will be in February. And then I gave you all an annual report. You have that in front of you, and that was for just a cover for a sheet that I created that basically is kind of like the staff report I give y'all each month. Has some information on the goals that we completed for the year, with information about the business openings, closings for this last fiscal year, and then the new commercial construction starts, not finishes, but starts, for 2022-23. And then I wanted you all to see the sales tax growth from year to year. And I broke it down for y'all with city and MDD. So this is from our app that we have called ZacTax, which pulls from the comptroller's reports. So they do a overall report for us, and that was on there. So thought that would be a good thing for us to see how much we're increasing our sales tax each year. So looks like we're up from a lot from.
That's just fiscal year, right? Does that number
Yes.
match exactly our fiscal year budget, final from
Mike.
our official financials?
The 2023, I'd have to look back at this one. But these numbers come from the comptroller's office. Now, there could have been an audit thrown in there, an audit number, but let me look at. Oh, that's in my other binder. Do you have it, Vicky? My other binder's in the other room. In the September. Pretty sure I looked at it. But if you notice, ours is on there, but not the cities, so. I wanted y'all to see the two breakdowns.
Thank you.
Good
It's,
checks and balances.
it's
Yeah.
different, but it's close.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's actually more than what we reported.
It more,
That-
because we
that's-
may have received, there are audit payments that come in later. And so,
And then that,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, now we were 832, 101, and that's 858, so it's
Very
close.
close, yeah.
And again, Zach Tax pulls from the comptroller's office and they actually get some of their, that's through September 30th. So if there is a discrepancy, I'm able to go look and see what that might be due to. And sometimes it is audits or a late payment came in. So, but I trust Mike totally too. So
Well, I mean,
we're still in the black, and that's a good thing.
it's independent data sources.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how.
Yeah.
How faithful they are to each other, because Mike's gonna know what our actual receipts were.
Right,
But that's gonna be right,
right.
as far as what we actually received, so the question would be like, that data doesn't match up, it's a different data source, so there's a discrepancy.
Yeah.
there. If it was a
Mainly
much
they
larger
do that-
discrepancy, I'd be much more. concerned.
Yes, and they do that to help us see an overall picture, but also what's our percentage increase each year. So the good news is we're increasing each year by a significant amount. So especially the city had a big increase, so that was
Yeah.
good.
Cool, thank you for putting that together.
Okay, so any questions on the annual report? All right.
Move the case on there.
Yeah, that'll go on next year.
January.
Specialty. Okay, then you had that sheet for training opportunities and that I included in your attachments. So, if you will take a look at that. Okay. I just wanted y'all to know, we talked about that in the last meeting as well, what's coming up, what are opportunities for y'all. So if there's something on there that you see you would want to attend, just let me know and we can look at that, look at the budget. But that small towns for TML is in Granbury, May 2nd,
Mhm.
3rd.
I thought, and then there was the bass trip, it's
Oh, the problem solving one?
the
Well, cities doing that.
small city, yeah, don't see them. It's,
Oh, well, small towns on the TML site is May 2nd and 3rd. I'm not sure what's fast draw. Because I pulled that from their site.
I think it was in Bastrop last year.
Yeah, it may have been in.
but we
So,
looked,
is it for-
But this is from their TML site. So
okay, cool.
y'all can click on the link in that document I included in your email and it will take you straight to it. So y'all can look and
It's a different one, okay, anyways, we'll figure it out.
and then,
I remember one of the previous meetings we talked about.
Yeah, Charles told us to go do
Yeah.
it, yeah.
yeah, and it may have been at Bastrop or a mid-year or something. And then TEDC does some upcoming, they're having upcoming conferences. So that is an opportunity if you're wanting to, there's also webinars. So
So if we were to pick one, two, is there any other than, I guess, obviously the one in Granbury, Small Towns Conference? Are there one or two other ones that maybe would warrant to highlight from your opinion?
Then do you remember if they had agendas for those meetings?
they did not yet.
Okay.
That's where you.
The small cities, yeah, they haven't posted any agendas. If they did, it's, I put on there, some stuff to be decided or coming soon. I am interested in this, I talked to Charles about it, community and economic development training. That is a 3-year commitment though, but it's 1 week a year, or, it's about 3 or 4 days a year. And then you have some certification afterwards. It is recommended for MDDs and chambers and municipal districts. So it's a good one. I know some people who've done it, so I'm interested in that one in March. And then Texas Municipal League, we did talk about October being a little, the mid-year or the annual conference being a little bit large, but there are some sessions that were good for cities our size, but small cities is actually probably the better one.
I was thinking about that mid-year, I wasn't sure, that's why I wanted to know what the agenda was, because I've done small towns twice.
Yeah, I haven't,
And it's great.
yeah,
You guys will get a ton out of it.
Yeah, that's why I was
It's
thinking-
oriented Towards.
Switch Charles was
size.
calling.
I was thinking we could focus on small towns, the small towns one. TEDC does some good sessions. Holly and Mike went to a training in September for the sales tax workshop, which is very helpful in learning the rules for the use of these sales tax dollars. And so they have some webinars on there that are listed for y'all, and then there's their in-person. So again, if y'all go on their site, you should be able to get, you know, a little glimpse of what it is. I might try to attend the mid-year conference. I typically don't do the annual conference because it's right around the time of Texas Downtown. I think Texas Downtown is a very valuable conference for, especially for projects for downtowns, any kind of development projects. So that one's in Abilene, and usually it's the last week of October, first week of November. So,
Right. Yeah, and then I guess just tell us which ones you're thinking about going to, that way we can know
yeah.
which ones you want.
Yes, so right now, I'll plan on going to small cities, I'll plan on going to EDC mid-year, and then I want to look at this community CDI Texas, and then Texas Downtown in the fall. But as these other webinars and things, sometimes Texas Downtown puts on some really good webinars too that, you know, if I think it warrants some of us or one or two board members watching it, I'll let y'all know. So, any other questions on training opportunities? Okay. All right. So we, just an update, economic development incentives policy. We had to make a revision after y'all saw the version we saw. The city attorney checked it, and there are a couple of little slight changes that had to be made. We don't approve. Alicia and I talked about this, and the board doesn't necessarily have to approve the incentives policy. So this is just an FYI for y'all. And it's just mainly regarding the length of time that, and this is per state law, by the way. Under tax abatements for real and or personal property, $60,000 or greater, the years of abatement cannot exceed 10 years. That's cannot exceed 10 years. So, and abatements will be conditioned upon improvement being made to the property. And, the public hearing will be, right, yeah, just 10 years is the threshold, not to exceed 10 years. On same with specialty retail, entertainment, restaurants, city may require the tenant to sign a lease for a period longer than 5 years, but not to exceed 10 years. So if we were to lease a property, and that's it. The rest will, and then there will be a public hearing at city council meeting just because it's required for passing the policy. Okay, ICCS show, I am doing ICSC with Mike will be coming to help on that Friday, February 2nd. Holly is considering that Thursday, February 1st. It does cost us $625 per additional attendee in addition to my attendance. So, I'm registering Mike because he knows for sure he's going to go. And Holly and I talked about it and she's not sure, so I won't register her till we're sure. The good news is we were invited to be part of a group of booths. We'll have our own table and booth display, but we'll be in a larger group setting with in a really good spot in the show, and that was a good thing. So that is coming up at the end of January, and I'm getting all the materials that we've had. I'm getting them updated. I'm not really changing much, just some pictures, updated pictures, information, data, of course, population, things like that we need to update. And I'll just get us a simple backdrop, and I've already got a couple of appointments with some developers, so that'll be good. And then oh, and thank you for those who got me your shirt sizes. If we'll use those for wearing to these different events, it's going to be a navy polo style, Nike dry fit, and they'll have the MDD logo on the left side. So if you didn't get me your shirt size, I will need that before you leave tonight, because I need to get those ordered so that Mike and I will have a shirt to wear at the show. Opportunity for MDD lot uses and food trucks. It was brought to our attention that there was a food truck parking in a city lot that they will no longer be parking in, so they were given our information in case we would want to entertain the opportunity to have a food truck park on our back lot here. Haven't heard from the food truck, but should I hear from them, I'll bring it back to y'all that as an opportunity where we could have maybe a regular food truck parked on a regular basis, or try to down here. But right now, I don't have any other information to report.
I mean, overall, I think I'd like that. I would think we should coordinate with the city when we're doing like events. Cause like tree lighting was great, loved it. That pad was being used. I mean, the food truck would have been fine too, but, during some big event that might be worth, it's like, hey, no, you gotta lease that for random Friday. Free or whatever, might not be a bad thing, but then try out without having to have an additional cost. They're already gonna have food costs as they're
Right.
trying to get ready.
Yeah, the main thing is, just whenever something like that comes up, we would definitely make sure they have their sales tax ID. Make sure that they have Addis as their additional insured, for their, truck. And that, they, just know that it's only on these days and times. So there would just be some basic things we could do at first to make it business friendly, but for sure, if the opportunity comes up, I'll bring that back to y'all. But I just want y'all to know that the interest is there, but we just need them to call to say, hey, want to use it. So haven't had anybody call you.
So, but that's for any food truck that wishes to sit there. Not one specific.
Oh, yeah. I don't
Right,
care
it
who
could be, or, I mean, as we go, if there's, we definitely, if vendors wanted to start using that space, we definitely need to have it, have a policy of some sort that we want to create for our own lot use. But main thing initially is always make sure they have you on their additional insured and that they have a sales tax permit.
Do we have any,
We want to take away from this.
city food handling thing they gotta do?
Yes, they
They
do.
go through Bureau Veritas,
So that we need to do that.
Yeah, so, well, no, because they already have it.
the one she's talking
We
about.
wouldn't
Well,
have to.
so I'm saying like, comply with all city policies or something.
Yeah, sure, they'd have to show their permit for sure. Okay,
It's an annual permit.
so, and I can always check with the city to see if they've got it. Okay, so that's that on staff report. There's no approvals needed, just wanted y'all to kind of know where we were.
Cool. Now we are moving on to new business. Review and approve to change the museum lease agreement with the Aubrey Area Historical Museum. Yes.
I'm very sorry.
You're good.
Going back to the
Yeah.
staff report.
Sorry.
Do we know, I'm the one that interrupted you, I'm sorry. Going back to the staff report, is it public, and if it's already been announced, my apologies, I've been out of the loop. Who the catering kitchen sold to?
They haven't said.
Haven't said, okay. And then, have you heard anything about the,
Or Joe Taylor?
no, well, yeah.
Well, I do have, I don't know if it's public, but I did go in and meet with the construction company so there will be a business getting in there soon when they get that remodel finished.
And then any interest, I know it's a leased building, not a new building, but it's a new place next to Julia's, essentially.
Oh, Cherished Homes?
That one, yeah.
She closed in November. I don't know. I haven't heard back from that broker. They do have a restaurant that was next door to Julia's that was supposed to go in, but they didn't have a time limit on it either.
That's a Mexican food restaurant, and I heard they were waiting on some permits.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the broker, as far as I know, I haven't had them get back to me, but just so y'all know too, and on the ICSC show, I will be providing information about some of these pad sites and open shells that are available for retail and restaurant that are here in Aubrey. Cause we've got Pine Ridge now, we've got Aubrey Creek Estates, and so that's definitely gonna be on my one sheet of places. So if y'all hear anything, Aaron, let me know.
Well, I still do know they're bidding for that thing,
Nothing about cross
for
the street.
the former church, so they're still marketing on Prexy, so. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's been-
Yeah, I didn't think there was. So if y'all hear
That's pretty-
anything, call me up, let me know, I'll investigate it further, but if I see a construction company, I'll stop and pull in and ask them, who are you building for? So I just don't know sometimes if that stuff's public yet, so I'm not putting it on the report till I know. Until they pull, and some of it, if it's in our ETJ, keep in mind, their permits never come through us. They'll go through the county and then I have to go. I bug the county sometimes too to get me information, but. So, okay, so the Aubrey Area Museum, y'all discussed the lease, and so Alicia and I went through it and, made the changes that she recommended changing and I had recommended based on taking over the utilities. I had attached that lease for y'all in your email. So, but just so y'all know, the major changes included updating the landlord name and the entity that owns the property from the EDC to MDD. The landlord covering utility costs, water, gas, and electric, does not include phone, internet, or anything like that. And starting the month, that the new lease would begin, which is proposed for March 1st, and we would terminate the old lease. So
Did you give us a copy of the old lease with this? I didn't see.
I didn't attach it, but I have it right here if you'd like to look at the draft changes that Alicia made. So you could kind of see. I can't remember if I attached that in your email or not.
You did.
Did I not?
Mhm.
Okay,
No, because that's, I wanted to see that.
okay. And I'm literally running out of ink in the printer after all the, after today's
I
meeting,
bet.
so I didn't print it out for that strategic plan sucked up all the ink.
I'll just add real quick, there was some language to providing updates to obtain a certificate of occupancy in the original lease. We also took that out as that's no longer necessary for the amendment or renewal.
Well, thanks.
I have a question about, says side and backyards. And this, if you want, you think we're trying to make a pocket parking between the two buildings, so that would be their controlled space, is that correct?
Oh, good point. Where was,
And
oh, okay,
backyard.
side and backyard. I'm thinking it's the side yard on their other side. And the parking is the front of the museum, but they have non-exclusive use of it. So that's what it's saying. It's saying it's non-exclusive use.
With front parking and back and
It's not
side
theirs.
yard.
Yeah, so that if they want to use it, right, it's
Right.
not ownership or leasing. So if they want to use it, if they had some event or whatever, they could, but it's not exclusive to them.
Yeah.
Just like it isn't, I mean, I guess we could make it exclusive to us, we wanted, we're the landlord, but yeah, so that's what that means.
The landlord insurance, so, and I noticed that Alicia had a red line on that too. It shows landlord, and I think that one of the building leases somewhere indicates that it's the city of Aubrey.
Oh, that
So-
should have changed too.
That's what I'm saying. This says landlord for the museum, the building lease for the chamber says city of Aubrey. So,
Oh, are you comparing it to the chamber lease? Is that what you're doing? I mean, we have an update, we can renew that, when we renew the chamber lease, we can change it.
and it needs to say, that's why I'm making sure that it should say landlord instead of city of Aubrey, because if it's supposed to say city of Aubrey, it needs to say that, if it's supposed to say landlord, then we need to update the chamber lease.
So,
Alicia,
yeah.
what Vicky's asking is, on the chamber lease, it says city of Aubrey and not landlord, whereas in our lease, it says landlord in regard to the insurance.
So Christine, we'll just need to confirm if it's the MDD's insurance policy that's insuring the buildings. But if it is the city of Aubrey, we would have to make the city of Aubrey a party to these lease agreements.
Well, I think we need to probably, because when this was written 15 years ago, the EDC was city. So that's why that would have said city, and even chamber, we probably just never updated it.
Yeah,
through
it
the
should be
years.
NDD. I don't see why.
But
we wouldn't run.
We have the TML insurance, we pay it,
Yeah.
so it should be, when we bought the building and the lease and the land, when the title had to have changed to MDD, and so therefore the insurance would be in our name and not the city name, correct? Because if we have our TML policy, Charles, do
Right.
you?
I don't
Do
know
you
that you have an
remember?
individual T and O policy.
Yeah, I thought we were picking back to
Yeah, you're
theirs.
part of the city
Okay.
policy.
Right, but we pay a fee.
Well, it just comes out of your budget. It's like
Yeah.
all one big giant pot of
So
money.
we need to be-
okay.
Okay, so then at least we need to do that.
So should I change it to say City of Aubrey instead of landlord?
See how it reads, I guess, how our insurance
Yeah.
policy reads. Can you see how it reads?
Be the city of Aubrey. It wouldn't say anything about landlord.
Yeah, so change it back
Well,
to City of Aubrey.
Yeah, so we defined the landlord as the MDD. So when it says landlord, because the landlord is the MDD, it is referring to the board whenever it says landlord.
If you just leave it the landlord.
Right.
landlord, And then
And
advise the city.
When we revise the chamber lease, we need to say landlord instead of city. Cause the
Okay.
chamber lease comes up in May for renewal.
Okay,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing it that way for years so far, so.
Well,
We've just never updated the leases.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that we're consistent.
Okay, well, when that time comes up for the chamber lease, we'll go through it. Alicia and I'll go through it, make sure that everything is updated per this museum lease, the verbiage and everything, because I'm sure that chamber lease is outdated too. I mean, it may not be that outdated, but as
I mean,
far as the
some of it
language,
It's a slight annual update, but we changed that.
We literally
2
just
years
had
ago?
them sign one when you were.
'Cause it was
right,
like
but I'm
5
talking
years
about the
ago.
language.
So I think that the one that's up in May is their second annual.
Right.
release, if I remember correctly.
Did we
Third.
get a written notice of renewal from them,
From,
the chamber?
for this year, for this coming year, or not yet, because it's just January. Do we have to get it?
Tenant's right to renew shall cease unless tenant provides landlord with written notice of renewal at least 120 days before the expiration of any current term. That's actually on the chamber as well as. the
Yeah.
museum.
Well, I could talk to Jana and they could put it on their next board agenda.
And that's termination date is May 14th, so 120 days.
That's 6
No,
months.
That's 6 months, so we're inside of it.
yeah.
So we're,
4 months.
I just need to have her
4 months.
put it on. Charles,
May.
you're on the chamber board now, right? On the executive board.
Why are we asking that? What do we do?
The leases say that we have to, that the tenants have to give notice of intent to renew their leases within 120 days of the expiration of the lease.
Okay.
So
So, yeah, we'll get on that.
you help me remember, I'll help you remember. I'm gonna make note to have Jana put that on the January. Yeah, so Charles will tell Brian right now to have that on the agenda for chamber, but we need to solve this museum lease, so.
I understand, and again, I just wanna make sure that we're consistent, if we're the
Sure.
landlord, that we're not having
Yeah.
different leases out there.
Yeah. So when the chamber's lease comes up, I'll have Alicia look at it, make sure we're consistent with the museum changes we just proposed. Make sure the verbiage is the same. And, but I just wanted y'all's approval on this before I go to the museum to give them a draft of their new lease and get their, because they do intend to renew their lease. I just haven't gotten written notice. They've had a lot.
That's the next question.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to them?
I have reached out, I have texting notices from Deborah, from Deborah Goen, but she's been sick and so I will reach out to her after this meeting. I told her I'd reach out after this meeting when I got a revised lease and I'll confirm everything. But this kind of went on the back burner for her in November when we talked about it.
Are we, so it indicates that the term, again, tenant's right to, and this is an Alicia question, tenant's right to renew shall cease unless tenant provides landlord with written notice of renewal at least 120 days before the expiration of any term, but then further, page 5. Landlord, E2, Either tenant or landlord shall submit a written notice to the other party 60 days prior to the end of the agreement term if either party wishes to terminate the agreement. Do we need to make those consistent?
Were you able to hear a question, Alicia?
So we can, that can be an amendment if you want to change one or the other. Normally you don't require generally more than 60 days to terminate, but the 120 allows you to start having the, negotiations if you're going to renew and amend the lease, but certainly one could be changed. The notice of intent to stay could be changed to 60 days.
I'm
Yeah,
more
the other
inclined-
thing that allowing 120 days to renew the lease is it gives you additional time to find a new tenant if you need to.
Okay.
But if they don't do it within, if the 120 days and they go past 100, like, and they give us 90 days notice, is that okay? I think
The board always has the right to say, that's okay, we'll still renew and enter a new agreement. It does give you the option if they haven't given the notice and you're within that period to say, we don't want to go forward. You didn't provide us the renewal notification. We're gonna seek to terminate, even if it's less than 60 days at that point. So
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were consistent.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Should we go to- Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the new release for Aubrey and Judy and Aubrey area meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Who's
Jesse.
Jesse?
Okay, thank
I
you.
have a motion from Aaron and a second from Jesse. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, we will now move on to the work session discussion, including but not limited to goals and objectives for the MDD board, staff expectations and direction, economic development incentives, executive director training opportunities and planning, which we kind of already went over, but we'll still talk about it, and board member training opportunities. And Charles is going to lead us in this work session, so I'm going to turn it over to him. Yep.
And Alicia, if you want to sign off the call, you are free to go.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank
you.
Thank you. Okay, and we're still recording, and I'm gonna put up the agenda that Charles had made for us.
Yes, please.
Okay, hang on a second. You want coffee? There's tea.
I would drink coffee if I
You would
could.
drink-
I would.
You're not supposed to be.
I've got
You know what?
individual, there's like individual pods, but, all right, there is your agenda, Charles.
Okay, cool.
So this was just a quick agenda that we put together. We don't have to do everything on the agenda. It just gave us some ideas of where to go. Christine and I did reach out, or Christine reached out at my request to some facilitators to talk about facilitating a goal setting. It was rather expensive, so we just decided that, as a group of people, we could probably set the goal pretty easily if we just got around the table and talked about it. And then if you go back and you actually look at some of the things that we have from the past, I mean, there's some pretty good goals in there already. We just need to get some new objectives to meet those goals. To me, I do not want to set the goals. That's not why I'm here. I'm just here to take notes, go through these items and see where we want to go. Then we can take that information, once we put these goals together, we can have a joint meeting with the council, present the goals to the council, and see what they align and assist with bringing new businesses and things to Aubrey. So we have a welcoming introduction. We all know each other.
Do you want to use this?
I don't write that well, and
Okay.
and Vicky's gonna throw a fit because I can't spell well. And so
Okay.
Not on the
So-
camera.
And see, you said.
So you're, just to be clear, before I go grab a bite of food, are you taking notes? I'll take
Yes,
notes.
I'm
We'll
gonna
put
take
them all
notes. When you
together.
get back, we'll all take
Okay.
notes. And I don't really wanna write it up there. I mean,
Okay.
if I wrote better, I would be fine with that, but
That's not on camera.
well, that puts me standing over there and I'd rather just write it.
You're not writing it
Okay,
there.
good.
Really horrible writing.
My wife says that my wife said that my handwriting is not the serial killer.
Okay.
Funny, that's funny.
Okay, I do want to remind you all, you're still being recorded.
Say anything out of
Anything you
Those
say, do.
Those are yours to keep.
Thank you.
So, we had a welcome and introduction, with greetings and introductions to everybody. We all know each other. Brief overview of the and purpose of the workshop. We talked about that just now. We want to get some goals in place. We want to update kind of this strategic plan, or the action plan. And we can start there, reviewing the previous goals and objectives that we have. If you look at that action plan, let me go back just for a second and tell you that we have selected someone to do our comp plan, and we're working on a contract now. I think that they are, we need to have a meeting with them because I don't think they understood completely what our RFQ was on, a strategic plan for the MDD. That was the first thing that I noticed, but there's a couple of other things missing from the contract that we want to talk to them about. So it's going to set us back a month, but we'll still be able to hopefully get to the February meeting of the council and get that approved so that we can get started on that. But it was one of the key items that we put in the comp plan was a new strategic plan for MDD. And there were several asks that we put in there that they do. And that was not included in the contract, so we're going to meet with them and discuss that and see where we're at on. I don't think they quite understood it was two different things. From
They
the
just
way
put
I-
it all together.
They put everything together and nothing for MDD was in the deliverables.
Oh, interesting.
So if that's not in the deliverables, we can't expect to receive.
Yeah,
So that was the first thing we noticed, and then there's a couple of others too, but we'll get to that eventually.
whole thing.
But these goals, I hope, will be used as part of their steering committee. Because several of you in this room need to be on that steering committee for sure. And we can present these goals and objectives to them so that they can work with us for that in the future. So what I thought I would do, if you're okay with that, I'll just run through, I think there's 9 goals.
Wow. Okay.
I think there's 9 goals already.
Yeah, 11.
11, and you can pick and choose. We can talk about new goals and go from there. So the first one, goal number 1 was to enhance administration, management, and reporting efforts. Number 2, retain and support existing businesses, the BRE, business retention and expansion, which is something that Christine has been focusing on. And of course, we've had 2 businesses closed. So I don't mean that as a negative, Christine, but it's like
What's our net growth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have, well, out of that.
Juliet.
well, if
Yeah.
you look at that annual report, I don't have it right.
We have had some growth.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would say, just a quick comment before we move on, is if we've taken a look at understanding why those businesses have closed and making sure there's nothing that the city in whole or the MDDs in part would have done differently.
Right.
Could have done different.
I know that Christine did on both. Well, I don't know about Ruby Cates. Have you met with Ruby Cates?
They never called me back. I
Well,
tried a
The
couple
one,
times to
the
talk.
one that we know, I mean, she was having very difficulties. Since we're being recorded.
But it wasn't this.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So if we take a look and go, okay, we lost businesses, it's gonna happen probably sometimes more than others, but it wasn't like we lost businesses because we
We were
failed to update
Right.
zoning and they expect
Yeah.
us to.
No.
And you
This-
met with them multiple times.
Yes,
correct?
this was sheer economics.
Yeah.
So,
So, BRE, then you have number 3, your goal is to increase the education and training of staff and board members. We discussed that, pretty extensively at the last meeting about those training opportunities for board members and get some of that
Yes.
information for you in the future. Provide community enhancement to support business development. Number 4, number 5, enhanced marketing and promotion efforts. We're doing that now. That's underway. Number 6, enhance relationships with patterns, allies, and stakeholders. Number 7 is to create and enhance economic development policies and plans. Enhanced process of improvement enhanced processes to improve economic development. Analyze and promote real estate development and or redevelopment opportunities. Identify, develop, enhance economic development resources. Implement programs to understand and enhance the workforce. So having those in mind, what jumps out at you that you want to work on over the next year to 18 months as we are, we're growing? It's, we had a meeting today with S&P for a bond rating, and we talked extensively about our explosive growth. We're number 9 in North Texas right now on population growth. And also it was in the Dallas, no, it's in the Denton Record Chronicle today. We are one of the 2 fastest growing zip codes.
That or there's a Dallas Express that's something like we're number 7 zip code.
The one I saw today said we were number 2 in North Texas.
Exactly. I saw number 7.
Right.
We're number 7 state.
Something like that.
What was number 9? Is that in the county or the state?
Number 9 was the population in North Texas.
Okay.
We were 97% growth. We were number 9.
That was zip code, I think. So that's really not just Aubrey.
No, it was just us. It was just, yeah, we were number 9 on all of the cities. They listed all the cities out, Salina, Van Alstyne, and Atlanta. And we were number 9 out of that list in North Texas for growth.
Will you forward that to me? Do you
Yes,
have
I
it?
have it
Okay.
on a text message. I'll send it.
Okay, because I'm gonna make some one sheets and I'll be putting some of this information on there for the show.
To me.
We were number 12, sorry. 21 fastest growing cities in North Texas. We were number 12 at 92.5%. I'm a little bit off on the numbers. And I don't have the Dallas paper. Go ahead, I'm sorry. That was North Texas.
So some of these overlap to me. Identify and enhance economic development resources. It's talking about marketing. So some of those are kind of overlapping, but that's okay. I do think that one thing that I would like, a couple of things that I think I would like to see us work on is land acquisitions. Try to, as much as possible. We've had several situations come up, and what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Land acquisition as far as surrounding the downtown.
Or any of the areas. So
TJ.
ETJ,
Oh.
I agree. So because we were looking at, I don't know, let's see. Oh, there it is. We were kind of looking at this map. I know. Yeah, and so we would like to, we should start looking at the ETJ and other areas that we can procure land. Stay on my mind.
You want
Stay out of my-
to draw it on the map?
No,
No, Vicky, I'm saying more, I guess that would be east.
well, hey.
Put an area called not in my backyard.
I don't even know
But
what
I
that is.
do, so,
I don't know what they're
Charles, is the ETAJ represented on this map, is that completely, are we boxed in through agreements, or are there places where this may grow in the future depending upon size or future?
Well, this map shows right now the statutory ETJ. And the majority of the statutory ETJ. There are ultimate growth boundary agreements out there that are not depicted on that.
Okay. Do we know, will this be a question for maybe you to take to Alicia after the meeting? Are we allowed to pursue and purchase property outside of our current ETJ? If it's in the ultimate growth? I'm assuming we can purchase in our ETJ.
Well, then the other thing you do is you just go to that person and say, we want to purchase your property, but we want you to
And
request to annex into the city's ETJ.
It has to be, just have to touch the boundaries.
Not to be in the ETJ.
That's
But
city
if
limits.
it's outside of the current year, we can still, okay.
In the 1990s, the city of Aubrey went on a spree of agreements with residents, and they were just one of these agreements where they agreed to enter into the ETJ. That's why the ETJ is so big today. Because a lot of that is agreements. Where you see down here on where you're looking down here in Providence Village, there's a lot of this right here. These are agreements. This does not touch our city limits, but this is through agreements right here that we have this in our ETJ. And there is a good portion of this that's already agreed upon. And we didn't show it on this particular map, and we're not showing it on our city limits map right now because we want to go back and verify all of the documentation before we put it on there, but there are other agreements out there. So what we could do is if you did find a piece of property that you want to buy, we want to research it immediately to see if we already have a petition to come into the ETJ. If we do, you wouldn't have to worry about it, but you could just make that contingent upon the sale. That once it, you could just, all they have to do is write a petition saying, once the land conveys to you, it annexes into our ETJ.
Okay. Cause that's something, I mean,
Yeah,
there's opportunities for either future commercial corners, potentially a large enough area for the right kind of like industrial project we want to see, because, you know,
I agree.
frankly, like, do we really want all houses? The answer is probably no. And, I mean, you know, when they go to the comp plan, they're probably, I think that'll be the sense from a lot of people. And especially start looking at high school just went up to big 4A, how long before their small 5A, how long before their big 5A, how long before that in the second high school. You know, it, you know, frankly, the right kind of industrial parks. They don't have any place in the school system.
Well, we can, what I'll do is I'll get the growth boundaries and I'll send it to you that way, you know what it is. Because it's all agreement. We have an agreement with every city around us for that ultimate growth boundary. Because I can tell you now that up there on Friendship, that is not correct. Up there where you see number 11, we have a lot of property up there that is in our ultimate growth boundary and our agreement with Pilot Point and Salina. So there's a good bit up there.
And I'll ask Alicia what the process is for outside of our ETJ. Like, I know you said we could do agreements or whatever, but there may be a process.
But yeah, so you just wanted that clear. I mean, if you want to consider all options.
Yeah.
So you said you had a couple of items.
yeah, so that was one of mine, was that land acquisition. I do think that, I know we were talking about, yesterday or last meeting about, packaging incentive policies. I know that we can't, exactly package them all. But there are, because everything's gonna be different.
Right.
But I do think we want to make sure that we are showing that we want to do like infrastructure incentive plans for some of these businesses that are coming in.
It would help me a lot to know too, what we're really wanting to look at doing public-private partnerships with. What types of businesses, what types of industries.
More
Because-
about what the board is willing to do.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be packaged to where we're gonna give this amount. I just need to know, okay, is these locations in certain areas of town are priority? These types of businesses are priority.
Exactly.
So if y'all could help, you know, in that area, that would be great, because as we talk to developers, brokers, as I'm visiting with them, I can let them know, hey, if you've got a project that would be a great fit for Aubrey or for this area of Aubrey, you know, let's talk and let's take a proposal to the board.
And I think that we should also give her an idea of a ratio that we would like to see of businesses that come into here, so she can go and, so, you know, okay, we want 25% restaurants, you know, 50% retail. I don't know, but give her an idea of something. I know it's gonna be
sorry.
Oh, no, I know it's gonna kind of be hit or miss, but it gives you an idea of what to go out. Well, we don't wanna see any of this, and we don't wanna see any more car washes, so we're not gonna put that on a ratio type of situation, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna come in. And I'm not saying we don't want any more car washes, but, you know, we already have 2 car washes right now, so it's an idea.
Well, I like the idea of having a percentage out there somehow, but the flip side of that is I think it's highly dependent upon some of the other factors, like you look over here near the second car wash on 377, that lot that's just south of it. It's a funky shape, it's not very deep, like, it's one of those things, at some point, it might be something the board would want to do to say, you know what, we're gonna provide an incentive to somebody
Yeah.
that can use that lot, because it's not doing us any doggone good right now.
Sitting there blank.
And it wouldn't necessarily fit in some of the matrix, we don't know what that's gonna be just yet.
No, and I agree with that. This is just kind of rough, you know,
Yeah.
but I do understand.
Well, and that's
Back
where,
on the land acquisition,
Yes.
do we wanna take the rules to like do a policy on that? Like, do we wanna do a policy on like the goals for a land acquisition program? Like, why
So
we're doing it?
what I've done is I've done 3 so far, 3 goals that I've written down that I'm hearing. And then what I want to do is go back and do some objectives
Okay.
to
Okay.
those
Cool.
items.
Okay.
So I know we
Yeah, well,
spent past
When
that.
you started
It's
talking about
important.
having a policy, I was like, shoot, I need to step back. So,
well, and just so you know too, in regard to what you're talking about with those lots, those types of lots, that's where an MDD can be a real critical factor for a town or an area, because we can develop that lot to be something for a potential business or to help a potential business come in. And that's what some other cities have done with real wonky corners or places that are hard to develop for a private business to come in. They've done the development and initiated it and then sell it, or however that would work.
So
So
let's just do like, let's get a number of objectives, goals down, and then we'll go back and do the.
Mike, what was you had
Yeah, sorry.
Now, I was going to confirm or with Holly on her comment about the different percentages of, you know, I don't know if there's a way to make it to say, okay, we want 50%
No.
retail and 25% commercial, whatever the matrix is. That's what they look more research
For
that I was
sure.
ready to go and take a look at to see. My personal thoughts are, and I go beyond just stating land acquisition to develop something. I'm thinking invest. And we're able to create, whether that's purchasing existing buildings that maybe are underutilized because of our work with something that's needed to go into it, that we can turn it around. Whether that's investments in land or that's, I'd like to say more than just land acquisition, but investments. Or however we want to deal with that. The second one I had in mind as well, looking through the goals, is I'd like to reinforce the need to have additional marketing as we are growing like this. From the website, and if we're going to do trade shows, have a professional appearance to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and looking back on like, I guess it was your Holly 2018 or so, when we were like scaling some of the priorities, it seems that marketing fell pretty far down the right.
That's because we have nothing.
But just saying, how I
Go to the first page.
My goal was to get people
get that done.
No, my goal was to get people to show up to meetings and have more.
There you
On
go.
the first page,
The
and
people.
you'll see a different hour on it.
yeah,
Back when my wife was on, and like just writing, from
Just-
talking to her, just writing
Just
this,
doing this.
and just writing like a quick thing for the website, as far as like who we are and where we are,
Yeah.
like, already.
We had to
So-
build a website.
That was very much in the, we were getting.
Yeah.
There's
And I'm-
been a lot of evolution then,
Yeah.
so naturally, some of like the
Everything's gonna
marketing.
change. This whole thing, which, you know, will essentially be changing. But
Well,
a lot of it's good. Like, I mean, the goals I feel like are still spot on.
a lot of it's still relevant marketing. It's just we need to update it to a brand that we want, a brand look and a brand image, which can come through that plan with the comp plan. That's a big part of that. So I think we hold off on any major brand changes or imaging changes until after we get that plan back. However, in the meantime, I do have a photographer taking photos, newer photos. We're updating, I'm working with the webmaster to update certain things each, before I go to the show, we'll have some more information updated on there. So,
So before the show, I mean, I know you've been playing with Placer AI, I know you've been looking at Zack Tax. Is there anything you're gonna be able to share at that show about like who we are, represent us? Cause that's the other thing, it's
Yeah.
not just rooftops.
yes, I'm gonna have a one sheet on all the all the property that's available for lease or what I know is for sale, that's commercial. I will have our latest trade area numbers from Placer that I've been working on. I'll have an updated brochure with updated photos. We'll have an updated backdrop display. It's gonna look newer than what we've had. So, so all of that are just materials that we have had in marketing apparently after the strategic or action plan was done. They did do some marketing materials, but they're very outdated. So the information is outdated. So I'm just kind of taking that lead right now, just updating it, working with our webmaster. But I think, we will go through a process in that comp plan, especially for that strategic plan for economic development. I think that's going to help us with branding and even further improving the market.
What is the comp plan? I think we talked about it last time, but I don't remember. What is the comp plan timeline?
Well, we asked for 9 months, but I don't know that they'll be able to do 9 months.
Okay.
It may take a year.
Or roughly
I
a
think
year.
it's a year to
Mhm.
14.
That concurrent with the strategic plan for us.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that did, I knew you had some.
Well, and
So-
something to keep in, oh, sorry, Charles, I was just gonna point out, something to keep in mind on that economic development portion of the comp plan. Land acquisition is a big future land use, all of the, thoroughfares, all these things that factor into economic development and where a commercial zone is, will be a part of that comp plan process and will feed into our strategic plan.
Well, so the major components of the comp plan, which is one of the things that I don't think they fully understood, is a full comp plan for the city. What are we going to do? A 2045 plan. What do our citizens want? It will be a redo of the land use plan. And it will be a review of zoning, review of the thoroughfare plan, and a review of the parks master plan to incorporate into our overall comp plan. So the information I have right now is that they think they're redoing the parks plan, or they're going to make recommendations, but we're not, we just paid for that. So we don't want to do that. So we're looking at the comp plan now, the company that we chose said they can do it in 9 months.
Mhm.
I've never thought it's possible to do it in 9 months.
Mhm.
The next company, they said it would take 18 months to do it.
So you're putting.
So-
it in
It's
the
a little more realistic.
So I'm more realistic saying 14 months, because there needs to be, and the reason I wanted to do this together is because there'll be community input.
Mhm.
And there's no need to do community input for the strategic plan and then do community
Sure,
input for a comp plan. So I wanted to marry these two things together so that we can get this input at the same time.
Right.
And we've worked already hard on these on the parks master plan, the master thoroughfare plan. We have those things in place.
Mhm.
And this strategic plan is not terrible.
No, it's not.
Or the action plan is not terrible.
No.
So I
You
think
already
we have a
have a
lot to go.
Yeah.
We just need, I think what we've not had in the past is enough staffing employees
Yeah.
to put a lot of this into action,
Mhm.
especially with your board. I mean, your board is, you're full-time, you have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have time to do this all day, every day, and you only meet once a month. So I think we've had just a little bit of, we don't have enough time to do a lot of this stuff, and now we've got to ramp up and get it done.
Yeah.
And I think part of these goals will be, hey, the city realizes this is where the MDD wants to go. This is the same direction the city wants to go. Now, we work with Christine, and you've got that much power behind where we're going forward.
Right. And I think that's a great idea, especially with like the land acquisitions and things like that, when y'all come across that, and cause we don't wanna wait a year for that to start beating down that bush, like, I mean. 'cause
No, we're starting here.
Yeah,
This is it. We're-
exactly.
We're ready to go.
No, I know.
Comp plan.
Yeah, no, and so that's kind of where we're at now, cause we don't wanna wait for the compliment to get here, so we're trying to
So,
solve it and give her direction so that she's doing her job.
so I've got land acquisition and investment package incentive policy. I put down staff and board training because somebody said
Yes, we
something
did.
about training. I forget who it was. Additional marketing or marketing in itself, we have that over here, enhanced marketing.
Goal number 5.
Number 5, enhanced marketing and promotion efforts.
And-
So let's have another one.
Business potential.
Yeah.
Area and, some of the 12 tech
I
program.
agree. We kind of put 12 on 12, but we
Well, and just an update on that. If y'all haven't noticed, we are the first diamond members on the Chamber's website, first to join in 2024 as a diamond member, which is the $10,000. But Jana, the executive director, is working very hard on, these education sessions. She and I talked about them. They're gonna hold some. I've been giving her input on what I feel some of our businesses need education on for some retention and other entrepreneurial education. So that's gonna be happening. Plus they are doing a luncheon in July. It'll be in July. It was in May, but I think she moved it to July. And I think it's gonna be at the community center, that will be like a 12 at 12. It'll have the same kind of purpose. It's gonna have businesses can come and talk to someone at the Small Business Development Center table from, wherever it is we get them from. There'll be someone there who can talk about business insurance and finances and stuff like that, one-on-one visits.
Is that us or is that too?
It's a combo.
It's gonna be Chamber, but I'll be working with her on the content and on the people that we get to help.
You can do it as
Help
an
us.
NDD sponsorship.
Yeah,
part of it.
our name will be on this, what she's calling it C3 or CQ, meaning it's coffee, chamber and conversation or something like that. But our logo, it's gonna be here in our building, the first one in February will be, and our logo is gonna be top on a lot of these specific business recruitment activities. So
I would encourage each of you to attend when you can. We don't have to all come to everyone, but attend the chamber luncheon.
and that's kind of why we're getting the shirt, so that you have your shirt. We don't name tags, that way you can wear a shirt.
Why don't we, I have a name tag.
I gotta get y'all's ordered. I just got mine.
And it kind of goes back to the fact that I've been here since 2014.
Well,
And
I
there's
just
a
got-
lot of experience that is probably being underutilized, but
So
As far as what experience.
as far as experience, as far as having gone through this and
Ah.
looking at it now and saying, well, it doesn't look like it was that important, well, people weren't involved.
Yeah, for sure.
5 years ago,
No.
7 years ago.
I agree.
And we had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I think you did great. We are not tagging it by any means.
This is that plan is a great foundation and it's a good foundation for us to start. I think there's some areas that we want to choose. The point of this workshop, I think, is to choose which areas are we gonna tackle this next 12 months and pinpoint on and really hone in on.
update.
Well, I think there was a difference too of what was important at that point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Landscape.
We didn't have an action
Yeah.
plan. We didn't have, to Charles' point, we were all full-time then.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hadn't-
It's impressive that y'all even did it,
There was
what
a lot
we're.
of training that we actually needed to do, and frankly, I mean, that's valid now, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of new people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The business retention and expansion, you guys have to realize that 10 years ago, it was about this big. Now, you've got, all of this,
Yeah,
so it's completely changed.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
something I'm working on too, to kind of put it in perspective, what Vicky's saying is, there was
bragging.
a report card that Carolyn had done, I think in 2020, and I went on and I've got a draft of this, and Vicky, I'd love your input on what might be missing.
Probably because I did it.
Yes.
Well, I added and specifically changed a few little things, like, y'all had some categories, so I added in and broke down a few more details on some of the incentives and things we've done, just so I'm gonna give y'all this in an email, but that way y'all would all have it as a perspective, but there's a couple of,
Of what they.
this is just 10 years too. This
Yeah.
is just since we were in MDD. This does not include EDC. So, this is an overall review of the past 10 years. So a lot has been done.
Yeah.
2020 was a crazy year.
I was mistaken. I thought that was the yearly, essentially report card that we were doing.
No, this was only one from 2020 is the one I found on the computer that was from Carolyn. And it was like a report card. It was, but anyway, I went ahead and added to it, I guess. So it just said report card and I found it. So I opened,
But you
I
can
just
add it.
changed it and I've called it 10-year program review. And it's got all the accomplishments and programs that we've initiated in the last 10 years since being an MDD, because we
Right.
were an EDC before that. So I didn't worry about the EDC part.
But we need to
But-
put those on there because like it's stage. A lot of people don't know that that they pay for the stage.
Well, the MDD didn't pay for it in the last 10 years. I can tell you that because we can't find it.
EDC paid for the
Yes,
stage.
right. But
Okay.
that, nobody has record of it because nothing was put on the computer before.
Mhm.
So I want to back up to what I was saying.
Yeah, please.
Chamber. I encourage each of you to consider going at least once or twice a year to the chamber luncheon. It is really blowing up. There's at least 30 or 40 people
Yeah.
there. These are business owners that are there every time.
Yeah.
I have really good conversations with them when we're there. It's an opportunity to do BRE.
Yes.
Christine usually works the room. We talk to all the new people, we find out what's going on. And part of that is what you saw tonight, your question on the charges. We paid for one lunch for 12 months out of the MDD and the city paid for 2. So we have 3 lunches each month. And if I've offered it to Holly before, if somebody else, Christine's is paid for, but if somebody else wants to go and nobody from the city's going, you can just use this third one that we have.
Yeah.
And we're fine with that.
Reach out to you.
Well, no, reach
Yeah,
out to
just-
Christine.
Just let me know and I'll get you on the list with Karen.
Yeah. And then she'll send, and then Karen just sends Jenny. She doesn't send it to Christine, she sends it to Jenny, saying, these are the people that are going to the lunch. Sometimes I don't go, and that leaves 2 spots open
Yeah.
that you could use. And if you know, 3 of you wanna go, all you have to do is pay
Hey,
15
it's not,
bucks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Beforehand, and we're to a point where we can get Karen to bill us, it's not a big
Yeah.
thing. if you-
yeah.
Oh,
And the other thing on the chamber lunches, is there is this one this month is the small business person of the year and some
Yeah,
other
this is
awards like
the
that.
awards.
That award is this
Mhm.
month, right?
That lunch is this month. So again, if you should be getting the emails because Karen added y'all's emails. So if you aren't, let me know. But if you want to go, tell me. I just have to know the Tuesday before. You can't say.
They're real memorable.
It's
No, I can't
pre-recorded. You can't say.
I mean, if anybody's listening though here, that
But-
won't go up the
But I
website.
I can say that I think it's in the ETJ.
Nice.
Actually,
It's in our,
they're
area.
getting up the day after I send it to Jenny.
It's in our area. The business of the year is in our area, because keep in mind, the chamber goes all the way down to 380.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's actually in the Auburn area.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So if just, they're Tuesday before, I have to know, but I do think that, and again, when we get the shirts, if you want to wear your shirt when you're out at events, that helps with awareness and marketing of, that we even have an MDD, because I think that's one of our biggest, if we were going to put a goal down, is create more awareness about the MDD and what we do. Because there's a lot of businesses in this area that don't know who we are or what we do, so, that helps, because they'll ask the question when they see your logo.
We're up to 5. Our 5 are land acquisition / investment, package incentive policy, which I think we can just call that incentive policy, because the package is a little bit, it's going to be difficult to really.
I'm gonna say policies.
Policy, sorry. Staff and board training, that will be an easy one for the objectives on that. Enhanced marketing, professional experience, and BREs. That's our 5 so far. And so we've got BRE.
Sorry, that was so in that, marketing promotions, that's actually pretty much all the ones that I had. How did anybody?
It's off the big screen, but we are still recording. I don't know why it went off the big screen, because it's being.
You have goal number 7 here, create and enhance economic development policies and plans, so I think we're already
We can-
talking about that one. enhance processes to improve economic development. I don't know on that one.
SOP.
The city's already got like the prospect numbering system that we share it, right?
Right.
Cause I mean, if you, even if you look at like, 7C, you know, subsequent to this, we took action to piggyback off on city policies and a lot of that stuff.
Right. And we are doing.
What
And
page are
this
you on?
number 9 covers number 1, which is land acquisition investment we're talking about.
Right.
Analyze, promote real estate development and or redevelopment opportunities.
But now it kind of speaks more to like a listing of what's available to help guide development, not necessarily our own acquisition strategy.
That was when we actually had a company that we were going to try to go through, it was kind of doing the same thing, putting the available properties. And you could go down on the website and show where everything was.
So we don't have.
And we had that we had that for, I think, a year.
Um,
and then went bankrupt.
She's gonna,
Business.
she's gonna bring it back to on the website.
I was
Those
trying to marry up what Mike had said with look for underutilized buildings. And
Yeah.
so that would be number 9.
I would almost say this would be a 6th thing for us, so like the, number 1 for us would be like us trying to drive, and we're gonna invest. This could be more along the lines of like, we're the resource for information, develop a call, so we're already doing this.
We're already
But we
doing.
need to be capturing a better goal setting on it as far as maintaining current availability. Of properties and.
Staying the source for inventory knowledge.
Yeah. We're already kind of doing that, I think we probably set a better goal around it, especially if we're talking about setting a goal for Christine to work towards in this coming year.
Yeah, I do have a database, Excel spreadsheet, because we don't have any software, but I do have a database of available properties that I know are for sale that are in the commercial zone. And I have broker lists and all of that, but I really don't have, like, if there is a property owner who's interested in selling and thinking about selling, those are some of the inside things that, you know, I don't always know until the sign goes up for sale.
And that's where kind of, I think we're gonna have to start going out and talking, going out and meeting. with people.
Yeah.
Use-
Create strategy for it, minding that, and
Yeah.
not waiting for.
Right.
Say, this property
Yeah.
is strategic, nobody says I wanna sell it.
But
How can we reach out to be attractive?
Exactly.
And that was frankly what number 9 was because of this company that actually did
Oh,
that.
okay.
They had business relationships with different real
Oh,
estate.
yeah.
Brokers and everything else, and so that's why we were paying them to reach out, mine the information so that they could go ahead and put that in, so then that way it wasn't, again, it went back to the fact that we didn't have an ED, we didn't have a city
Oh,
staff
yeah.
that was able to, it's not that they didn't want to, but they didn't have the people and resources.
Was that like Retail Strategies, a company like that, or
It-
Retail
this company
Coach?
Went out of business.
Oh, okay.
But, there's probably some value to having, our hands off that instead of Christine making
Yeah.
calls. Because Christine making calls might drive interest in a different direction than they want, especially
With
if it's
money.
property, we may later think like, oh gosh. Yeah, we're building our inventory, if you will, of properties that might be available, but gosh, we think we want that one. Just her calling might be just enough for somebody to go, actually, that's
Agreed.
not for sale at that price.
Yeah.
anymore."
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just some like data aggregator, so that might be a sample since we're already talking. about it.
So that's,
Which one?
so,
On that one, as far as inventory, some, I know you said we're gonna go back while we're talking about what we use it.
no, but I agree, like, research a company that can do that for us.
That might be.
Well, they're already out there doing it, y'all.
Well, yeah, but-
So they're out there doing it, and we're just hearing about it once sometimes the sale goes through or once the land goes up for sale. So that's been happening. But hopefully going to shows like,
Yeah.
That's what, I mean. Prospecting for opportunity, that's what commercial brokers are doing all day
Yeah.
long. They have whole teams that.
Yeah.
just on the phone and just.
right, and they're calling us already going, hey, what's happening in Opry? So that's happening already naturally, but
I think what you might be, and what I think would be good is when I talk to these folks that do call who are looking for property in the area to buy, I tell them what we're looking for, what we're not looking for, what we are saturated on, what we need. I'm giving them all those things that as you go talk to this landowner, here's something that would be a really great thing for that commercial zone, or if it were to be zone commercial and not residential. Going to this show in Dallas, I'll be able to meet with a lot of those brokers that do those types of, I have some appointments set up, and they can go and find a retail company to come to your commercial strip. They do that. So that's kind of already being done. But I think back to the discussion on percentages of what types of businesses we want, I think that's where it's gonna be helpful to have a little bit of a breakdown of, okay, we know we want dining, evening restaurants, wine.
I thought we didn't want to do a percentage though. We just
No,
wanted
not a,
direction on.
yeah, just the
this is what we're
types.
looking for, this
Yeah.
is what the
Yeah.
board sees, not
Right.
necessarily attaching
Percentage,
numbers. to
yeah,
it.
and that's
But
fine.
we know we need a downtown.
Yeah.
We know we need a sit down downtown restaurant.
Um,
We know that's something that we need. We need to draw more people to the downtown area. That's what I was hoping for. If the place wants to use this for a food truck, will they come in the late afternoon
Mhm,
and not just do lunch? To
mhm,
pull
right.
people downtown, because that's been the complaint from across the street. There's not anything to pull people.
not
downtown.
anymore.
So if we could get a couple of people that would on a rotation basis willing to do that, and they could come in, we could start pulling people downtown, because I left City Hall last night at 5:35. I thought the asphalt had been rolled up. I mean, it was nothing going on.
It's very quiet, especially at
Yeah, it used to be
6.
sunlight. Just
Well,
You know, and then like,
It is hard getting, sorry, it is hard getting, food trucks. I know that Denise has a heck of a time with getting
Yeah.
somebody to actually come in. They say they will, and then they don't.
Yeah.
Right, I just emailed her today because I wanted the corn dog guy. He's supposed to be there.
Well, and-
He wasn't there.
they can get a little, if they get a better gig or a location that has more traffic, they're gonna go to that. So unless they've paid a lot of money already to be there, that's just the nature of it. So, but here's something I wanted to point out to Charles's point, and I think what we're all talking about here. This is another one sheet I found that was, I guess, used for trade shows or something, but I'm gonna update it, but it has underserved industries and retail listed. So I think agreeing on what's underserved and starting there is a good point, a good place to go start from.
What were you saying?
What were you saying?
downtown area, since we're talking about it, it's dark. I know there's been talk about downtown master plan updating, is that gonna be part of the comp plan? Is that something we should put in our goals as far as?
No, downtown will be part of the comp plan, to review the 2015 downtown plan. Some of the darkness is gonna go away as we move forward with the tech shop project in the park right here, because it includes lighting. And we're going to, once they get, we can't do anything in the park until tech shop comes in and does what they're going to do. And once they do that, we can start looking at lighting in other areas downtown, because during the tree lighting, we determined that there's
I parked over there.
there's not enough lighting. And
The city staff were doing a great job,
I know.
but they were, I could tell they were rightly frustrated by the way drivers were behaving.
yeah,
Oh, I know.
We're gonna
it
need some-
sucks.
we're gonna need some portable lights over on the parking area.
Mhm.
And we just need more lighting in the park, and
Yeah.
especially when we have events. Next year, we'll be putting Main Street for the tree. lighting.
Cool.
Permanent lighting will be night sky. Night sky ordinance.
That's cool.
That's
'cause
great.
That
That's
was,
really nice.
yeah, it was
I mean,
awesome.
stuff like that, like, I mean to talk to you about it or talk to somebody else,
It was
not
beautiful.
to think about it.
But that was part of our debriefing that we know, 2 things came out of it, well, more than 2, but 2 very important things came out of the debrief, and that was, we need to close Main Street
Mhm.
next year, and we need more light.
Cool.
The second thing, another pen there, third thing, money with park. We might wanna do something to try to keep
That
that.
is part of the park plan.
Okay.
As soon as Tech Stop is done, that we're gonna build, it's gonna be a small, it's not gonna be a fence, it'll be chains that go around it, that indicate don't come in this area. Yeah, I've had multiple complaints about that, and
I know there's one council member that doesn't like that.
yes, there is.
I saw it and was roundly irritated as well.
I'm not even, I haven't even been in the Gulf here.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, number 7. We're on number 7. I'm trying to keep us going.
No, you're good, you're good. Well, so we were going through here, identifying. Oh, we were on number 7.
We're looking for number 7.
Oh.
We have
Goal
six goals identified.
Do we want
There's
to,
7. Oh, no, we got 6 goals. We need a 7. I do have a suggestion for a goal or I have a recommendation for the board.
yes, please.
What I would like to see you set goals for the executive director. That you have a
Yes.
goal setting session, like I do with the council,
Okay,
and you set those goals for the year. This is what we want to see, this is what we want to do. And that gives ample direction to your director on where you want to go and what you want to do. And I think that, and if you come to a consensus as a group, I think that we'll have to check with Alicia, but I'm wondering if the way this is, I don't know that you can do it in executive session.
so I do have
Yeah, because you can do it as part of your employee
The
a
personnel,
review.
personnel review.
Yeah, that's true. So enhance
Because yours
admission.
is done in executive, right?
Yeah, but no other city employee can be in executive session anymore since we're not. Since we're home rule, you can't pull employees into executive session.
Oh.
Oh, only the city manager.
Well, only the 4 people.
Only the 4.
Yeah.
But
We can ask
So-
about it. Let's ask.
Well, see, I think we could, because
You need to ask Alicia to see if
Yeah.
you could.
ask her what about goal setting session for
It can be done.
Executive session.
in exec?
Yeah, I don't think that needs to be a goal. That's just a recommendation that I have to come out of this.
I do think there is something similar to this. Goal number 1, enhance administration management and reporting efforts. Adopt an action plan, and then adopt performance dashboard tracking system for reporting. Kind of, those don't really, I mean, they kind of do because of plan of action for the near term, 1 to 3 years for the board and the staff to advance priorities and objectives. It kind of falls under that, don't you think?
Yes,
So it's already kind of.
and enhance administration.
Yeah.
What are you
management.
looking at?
well, we'll need a better dashboard on like development opportunities.
For sure.
So my question would be, do you want to make that a board
Number
goal?
1.
Or do we want to just say we'll have
I think
goals set?
that could fall underneath executive director, when we're setting goals for executive director, that should fall under.
Okay, and then we'll just, then we still leave number 7.
Yeah, but I thought that was number 7.
You want to do want to make that number 7?
I feel like having goals for
Okay,
executive director attain, the
Yeah.
board should be setting that.
Well,
Yeah.
goals for the board goals and executive director goals.
yeah,
I like what.
So
what
performance
she-
dashboard, it seems like that would summarize.
Yeah.
Quite a few objectives under number 7.
You want to just use number 1,
I think-
enhance administration,
One.
management and reporting efforts. So through goals. So,
Yeah.
and then an objective could be.
Goal setting.
Mhm.
But I'm still asking Alicia about doing it in executive session, correct? If we can,
Well.
or can
I
we
would
just
think
do
that-
it like in a meeting like we're doing now?
No, I would think that you don't want everybody to know,
Oh,
if
okay.
they're giving you a goal to go out and find.
Oh,
It's
sure,
one
sure, right. We
You know,
should,
you don't want to have that, yeah,
Well, and
We
if you're
should
doing
be
like
able to do it
performance review,
under
you're not necessarily gonna do
section.
that, or you shouldn't.
no.
no. Because
well,
that would be executive, I think that would be executive session no problem, because it's talking about monetary, something that we're gonna be purchasing, trying to purchase, that we don't.
Oh, I'm just saying. like,
Well, there-
personnel set goals for.
yeah, there's a section for personnel matters. I don't see why it couldn't go under there.
Okay.
But,
Because I mean, I would think setting
ask her.
goals would be something we could do that's not, has to be public. Because then what's the next step, right? We're gonna go back and look,
This.
where are you at in relation to these goals? That would definitely not need to be public.
Agreed. Let's ask Alicia.
okay, I've got that in the purchasing property question.
All right, number 8.
Is there like an annual meeting with city council where we
Um,
discuss things that?
Yes, I think that was it.
Can y'all think of anything that's not on this sheet that you want to work on?
I mean, one thing that's on here is the community enhancements. I mean, there's some changes on stuff we can and can't do since this document was written. But I think the city broadly and MDD more specifically, has had a goal to have like a monument sign coming into the city, and that thing has been, for multiple reasons,
Yeah,
and like, when I say multiple, I mean, in
Text
every
dot.
literal sense of the word, multiple reasons why that thing's been kicked down the road. We don't have a single monument sign. The closest
No.
thing we have to monument sign is the top of this building right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is a cool one that someone drafted for us, a company, and they gave it to me just recently. And it was proposed, I guess, out here for 377 Spring Hill and Main Street.
Even if we
And-
put that in motion now, it's not gonna get done until
We've had
6
multiple,
lanes, so.
we've had
Well-
multiple people that have done different signing for not only the city, but also for us multiple times. The problem is that TxDOT keeps coming through and saying that they're going to demolish the roads. So why are we gonna spend $100,000 on entry signs when they're gonna get demolished? That was the whole thing too. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Holly's very intimately aware with how that went, because that was supposed to be the KEB funds that we won for 2
Oh, I read
years.
about that.
Those are supposed to be for the entryway signs.
But what about the Easter Island? Can we look at doing something out there, like for, welcome to Aubrey kind of sign?
Where at?
Did you say?
Right there at the Aubrey
Yeah,
Creek
for
Estates.
25, I know they're getting ready to expand that. But, and, kind of broadly, sometimes this area, when I talk to folks, they like, are we in part of Auburn? They don't have like a downtown area, they don't have like businesses we can drive into, like you would think like here, you put it like, hey, beautiful downtown Auburn is right this way. They don't have that, but that might be an area where we could look at for here and.
There's that
Yeah,
area
yeah.
right by Aubrey Creek Estates before you get to that, right there, the city limit sign, you get to that parking lot area. I know some of that's right away for TxDOT, but the rest will stay.
So that be a
So,
goal that we would want Christine to look into, an objective that we would want Christine to look into to find.
Because
I've had some conversations with,
item B on that list could tie into some other stuff we've talked about in the last couple of months that we talked about in executive, so I don't want to get too far into it.
where are you on
Number-
9?
4B, we were talking about 4A, so 4B, we've kind of touched on that a little bit here and there.
Oh, okay.
So that goal broadly might still have some value, it's just a little bit harder
I love it.
to
I think
execute some of this.
we need signs say you're in Aubrey. I mean, they're just not big enough.
The chamber had that, oh, go ahead.
So you have an opportunity at the end of the month
Okay.
for Christine to really, really lobby the commercial folks
Gotcha,
at Spring Hill and 377.
because that's where, yeah,
That's the booth she's going to be in.
right.
They offered up their booth to her, and it's a great partnership for us. for her to be there.
Continuing. right.
But that would be an opportunity for us to say, hey, would you build a sign at 377 in Spring Hill? Because they've asked for our input on what the name should be
Mhm.
of the development. And if we could put that on a sign.
Yeah.
Welcome to Aubrey,
Mhm.
Yep,
have a monument out there. This would be a great time for you to lobby them.
I've mentioned it a couple of times. I think I'm ready to show them the picture, but
And then another option you have is out when you first come into Aubrey on 377. I
Yeah.
know it's not as heavily traveled, but it would be later. We can go all the way out to Friendship, and when you get out to Friendship, the majority of the right of way that's going to be taken is on the east side of the road. So we may be able to go out there and find a spot
Mhm.
that we could go ahead and build a monument sign out there. So I don't think it's a bad idea, because you are right now speaking to the mayor, because the mayor would like to have a monument sign as well.
right.
This
That
is.
was the biggest problem is that- That was the biggest problem is that, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, TxDOT didn't have their plan yet. So it's
Right.
impossible to even go.
Yeah.
We don't know
Well,
what
we could do
they're.
it on 428, because.
Well, we're supposed to have, I can't remember what it takes to move utilities. Is it 50%? I think maybe it's 90% plans next in the fall, in the spring, late spring, or it's either 50 or 90% in the late spring.
So that's a lot.
That, what, yes.
But whatever that metric would let you know.
Whatever
Yeah.
the metric is, we're gonna know enough that we can start
Exactly.
moving utilities.
Yeah.
So that means we can plan a sign.
I-
So we're six months out from that.
Which is not, which we can
Leanne made
start-
it sound like it was possible, cause I showed her the drawing that was
What
given to
drawing are
me
you talking about? We need to see.
We could also, we could
Got it
also
in
lobby,
another folder.
we could also lobby, the owners of the next to Julia, the next pad site.
The Aubrey Creek,
We could
yeah.
also lobby them to let us put a sign.
Yeah.
Because that house is about to be torn down. All of that, that's a
Where
commercial
did you take the
development.
right over there? Did they split the 50-50 each side?
Yes, I don't know. It just does this the whole time. There's flags out there now, but I couldn't tell you what they are to be sure. But if we could put them right there, that's gonna be a commercial development in Krugerville, so the house is coming out, all that will be cleaned out.
So here's another,
It's just silent, that's good, anything across the sun.
You know, and another thing, Krugerville might go in with,
They might, yeah.
go on the other side and say, welcome to Krugerville. On this
Yeah.
side.
they may want that line.
Yeah.
So
I-
that's,
So I feel like that's still valuable for us.
They-
It sounds like we got some opportunity.
well, and again, that's
And
where,
probably 4A and B that are on there would probably be valid.
I think so.
So we could, instead of saying like, expand parks and rec amenities, you could say explore options.
Work with the.
Yeah, something like that, instead, because that like, you're gonna get that done in 12 months, that's more like, we're not there, it's more like, we need to be planning for exploring.
well, and
Let's
are,
Identify and prioritize enhancements.
are we
Get
talking
it
about,
done.
when we talk about these signs, these monument signs, cause it would be nice to have some even out here on 428. We're from the Denton city limit, you know, as you come into Aubrey. It'd be nice to have them on all 4 of our major corridors, and then, like you said, down where those folks are part of us. Are we talking about a public-private partnership with the developers that if we can, you know, work that out? Is that one of our incentives we're willing
I
to,
think
is that an
that's
objective of a
something-
public,
Yeah.
private,
Yeah.
private?
Just gotta start the research. I
You
mean,
just
they
start
could
asking.
C could be start the research
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
how can we get some signs done? And the signs, we're gonna ask that the signs look like fire station number 3. So as we're moving forward, what we've told our architect is we wanted him to design a really nice fire station out in Silverado, that's fire station number 3. And in the future, all of our city buildings are going to continue in that theme.
Nice.
And so it'll look like, when you come into Aubrey, the sign is going to look like City Hall.
Cool.
And other government buildings, and maybe other people will buy off on that as well, and they will build buildings that look like that.
Yeah.
The mayor has told me before that he would like for, when you cross the line on 377, you know that you're in Aubrey, just by the mere
It's gonna
fact.
change the speed limit.
Yeah. Just by
Well,
the
that's
mere
true.
fact
I
of the
notice
way
that
it
every
looks,
day.
kind of like the woodlands, you know, when you're in the woodlands.
Yeah.
And you know, you're not in metal buildings like that in the EPJ, you know, you see the.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we could have an opportunity there. That could be a partnership between the city and the MDD, and we could pull in some developers maybe.
sure.
There is.
That would be great.
There is by the way, a new commercial strip that's gonna get built out off in our ETJ next to the Prosper ETJ, out on 1385. And it's gonna be north of that strip that's already built, but it will be south of, I think it's south of
Yeah.
Sandbrook,
Have
but
you-
it's north of
Is
Arrowbrook.
that the Aubrey, oh, that's right next to the Aubrey Montessori.
Yes.
Well, no, that's retail strip in Aubrey Montessori, the one that's already developed, are part of Prosper. It'll be north of that. There's a whole empty strip north of that Frontier
Right.
Market.
Okay. Cool.
So again, it's
No.
just,
You see where number 14,
Yeah.
you see the gray area, pull your pin up,
Right there.
right there. That little
Yeah.
square is in the Aubrey ETJ, and the one south of it is in the Prosper.
yeah, it's so confusing. So basically,
You reached out to them yet, the developer?
no. And I'm gonna see if they're on that show list too, but it's Berlin Properties. Do you know them, Aaron?
I didn't
She
recognize the
could
name.
Feasibly. I don't know, we'd have to talk to them, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I do think that, that's an important step for creating the awareness of, because we are so spread out. So is that, did you put, is that a goal or is
Yes.
this an objective of the,
It's an objective.
okay,
Well, it's a goal.
Number 8 or something.
Four.
Number 8 was to provide community enhancements, monument sign, et cetera. And then A and B, and then C was to start working on the process of
Right,
how we do this.
perfect.
I'm completely relying on you notes, Charles, because
It'll
I'm
be fine.
not keeping up.
I'm not gonna,
This will be recorded. You definitely gotta let-
True. Yeah,
Because that's-
I've done that many times.
Increase education and staff, you already have that. You have the increase in the education and staff and training, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think those are,
We're at number 9, if somebody has something.
There, I want to throw something out as probably an objective for one of the goals. Not looking at the goal sheet, but I'd love to do a broker tour, a broker and real estate tour.
Let's see, what would be,
that would be under that, what was the enhanced, no, it was the one that you all talking about.
yeah, enhance and promote real estate development.
Yeah,
and develop
that one.
Opportunities.
And put Charles on the mic on a bus. Whether we get a school bus or we can get span or
We
some,
got
some kind of
Sienna
bus.
2 years ago, 3.
No,
Yeah. It was more than that. It was pre-COVID.
Oh, wow, okay.
It was October.
How many people did it fit?
Yeah.
Last minute.
Because the AC didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
And I could not believe at the time how
I
Mark,
sat by.
Yeah, 'cause I think I was sitting like one row in front of you.
I could not believe at the time how from memory Mark could drive us around for 2 hours and just
Talk the entire time.
talk the entire time, but he knew all of this.
Oh, man.
No notes. Huh?
At the time you couldn't, but you could.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Because our goal, when we do so we're going to start a new program, Citizens Academy. And that's going to be the first night of the Citizens Academy is to do that tour. And I have to do it.
Yay.
And
So how many people did that van fit, the span vehicles?
depends on what you get. There's at least 20.
It was all 7 of the board. I think every single one of the board made it. 2 council members, mayor, 1 council
Okay.
member. you.
Dwayne, Dwayne was there.
Was it comfortable?
I think that was important.
You can get, it was a big span bus. It wasn't a little van.
Oh, okay,
It
okay,
was a bus.
okay.
Well, I'm sure you could work, if you couldn't fit on
Yeah.
scan, I'm sure you could work with Durham with this school.
Yeah,
So
I'd like to do that,
Possibilities for.
right, like in Pilot Point, yeah, yeah. And that was through Main Street, Texas Historic Commission. But it's definitely a model that can be used for anything, and I think doing a tour to, a lot of these brokers don't even know what's in our ETJ, they don't know all of that out there as part of us, I mean, they're calling different cities, they have no idea. So I just think it's really important.
It's really hard to explain. And if you don't live here, you just don't understand what's going on right there on that map. You just don't. It's so much that's happening.
Look, I mean, I live here, but I avoid this area like the plague. And it's got nothing to do with the people who live there.
Yeah,
No,
It's got to do how many
Traffic.
people live there.
it's like you're talking about the roads.
but
But it's still
and
better than this road, so sometimes I go.
I do think if we're gonna be promoting shop local, support local, some of them think they're supporting Aubrey if they're in another area, and they think they're in Aubrey. Yeah, and or some of our ETJs address says Pilot Point, but they're in Aubrey ETJ, so
Is that VRE shop local,
Yes.
yes,
support local?
yeah. So it would almost, in our map is our story map is just constantly getting updated. I gave them 30 updates just before the holidays. So that helps, and we can use that story map as a tool. For,
Yeah, well, that's the reason why we did it. It's gonna be in the. Charles brought that to us.
yeah,
3 years ago, and it was the idea that we had this available, so they're already for here.
Yeah.
It's constantly empty.
Yeah.
Which is why when I see it, I don't see anything, or I don't see anything, zoning, I'm just like,
I've been moved on to
I know.
I know we did
Park
zoning.
but now it's still, you know,
I would like to put us in all we have zoning up there, that's not us.
weaknesses, and it's coming to fruition.
I know.
And
As we
it's-
do.
That was a little bit smart.
So that-
Well, but,
You know what I mean,
I
like
mean, it's been 2018.
defeating, then we
So,
go through,
yeah.
that's
We've
cool.
got to get our city limits done, and we need to get, the comp plan to do our land use. Once we get our land use done, then we can go back and look at our zoning and see where we're at.
Why can't we update zoning as it's changed? Cause like some of that stuff, like, we know right now, across from the high school in Springfield, we know what that's, we've taken action, we've.
Oh, yeah, but there's not been a lot more, and this. You have to have an engineer do this, this is expensive. So I want it to be right when we do, see, that map is wrong right now, as
Already.
it stands. Because, in fact, I think Christine has changed things since the map was printed. So we're so fluid that I want it to be even more right than where we're at now before we do it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna start putting sticky notes.
Like, we're going to ICSC this month,
Let me get little labels.
and we're gonna say, hey, guess what, we've got commercial coming in, where? Oh, it's in the agricultural residential stuff, just trust us, it's there. You know,
Yeah.
and I know, I hear what you're saying, there's other stuff involved in that, but like. That's a lot, that corner, and then the commercial that's further up, 377.
Well, that corner, we're not going to have to worry much about that.
Yeah, I know, but it's,
That corner is, she's gonna be in Tim's booth, and he's gonna be talking about that extensively.
So once I spring him.
Yeah, right here. His area, right? 30 acres. But this needs to come on over,
yep,
this needs to come on over to here like that, and.
oh yeah, cause they're in two, kind of like that.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah, so
And then
basically.
this will be in the city limits. This is our land right here.
Mhm.
This will be 24 acres of forest. And see, this is not updated.
No.
We need to get all of the properties in here. We need to show this as an RDTJ. But we do show our own property over here. We got this, and we're working on annexations right now.
I mean, I
See,
know
we
that's-
don't have the, so we don't even have 2931, we covered it up. There's a piece of city limits behind this.
So who goes after in training, you know, the annexation, because these people say, hey, Joe Smith, I see you on the list.
people can voluntarily annex in, or if there is, like Charles said, a development that's going in, they can.
Push, we push, that's what we want, because, you know, like over there in Silverado, number 12. You know, they're paying us for our services, because it's a development agreement. Now, we have an annexation agreement with them, but we can't annex it because they have too much debt. So once the MUD's debt comes down, then the city will be able to annex that property. And we can annex anything around it because we have that annexation agreement. And there's a piece of our city limits over there that's not on that map. You see the number 1? The number 1, just above number 1 and to the left is an apartment complex right there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's in the city limits.
That's 2931?
That's 29.
No, this is what I'm.
No, that's 30.
13.
Oh, 13.5, yep.
I know.
So that apartment complex is in the city limits.
Yeah,
And then the city, so when the school buys the land, will you tell can we? Okay,
Oh,
so the idea of these maps too is so when I do have these brokers or whoever comes in looking, we have something to look at overall because
That's
it
not
is.
negative.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I am gonna start
The map
putting,
is wrong. once it's
yeah,
printed.
it's wrong the second
And we
we,
know that.
yeah, and that's
2018.
why I hate maps. I hate printed
Liberty.
maps.
Like, that
So-
map was valid, it's when my wife was on.
Liberty.
And that might be,
When this is.
that's a GIS thing. I wonder if that GIS system is messed up.
So, okay, we're on number 9.
So I have a question before, you probably already did it, but we were talking about land acquisitions, and then underneath that, you put the policy, right, to start the process and to. Is that what
For
we're,
land acquisition.
yeah, right?
Well, we're gonna go back and review some of these.
Go back.
Okay, sorry.
These short cut goals that we're.
Move in, I'm sorry, I just.
That's okay. We
One
may
time,
not,
Yeah.
what we may be able to do is get through some of them
and then,
and then take homework home.
yeah,
To think about some other objectives
I
and
mean,
we
it's
can
a great
hit it
idea.
at the next meeting. Cause I don't know that we'll be able to have a joint session in February. It's looking like we're going to end up with a joint session on Saturday morning
which is
as a
fine.
work session. Because I don't know that I can get everybody together in an evening.
Is that okay with y'all?
The other option.
Depends on Saturday.
The other option is I may ask the council, if they're available
Towards
on
that.
your regular meeting.
Mary's March, so.
And then it could be a joint meeting between the council and the. But I don't think we're gonna make it for February. There's let me know.
Well, don't forget sports seasons that start up in March, Charles. There might be games on Saturdays they gotta go watch.
What's that?
I said, sports seasons start up in March with games and tournaments, so their council people might, or y'all might have games to go be watching.
So because of February, the council meeting, because February 1st is on a Thursday, the council meeting in February is on the 22nd. So that only gives us a limited amount of time between those two meetings to get a joint session together. Unless we do it on the 22nd, if we have a light agenda. But the problem with the February 22nd meeting is we're starting new agenda software. And I don't know how that's gonna be. So,
Just when I
and
figured
that's gonna
out that
affect
the
y'all
first.
too. That will affect all the boards. Yeah, because once we start that new agenda software, that'll be where your information is. It'll all route
Mhm.
through. So, okay, number 9.
General question, as far as cohesion between all of the different entities within the city and all these conversations that take place, you're kind of like the fog, is what it sounds like, so you're filtering all of these conversations. Is there ever any, I don't know, besides just the joint session that you mentioned, is there ever any regular conversation where there's synergy amongst, P and Z and the city council and MDD and all these different
Not generally,
working groups,
not generally. P and Z is a little different than your group.
right?
Because the P and Z, you really want them separated. I don't go to P and Z. Leanne handles P and Z because we want the separation of the council from the P and Z because you don't want anybody to think that the council or staff is influencing the P and Z
Yeah.
to what the council wants, because the council can actually overrule P and Z
Mhm.
and they're their own entity.
Yeah.
It's the same way, yeah. And it's the same with BOA. BOA is really even, it's stronger than.
Board of Adjustments.
Yeah.
Board of Adjustments is
Mhm.
stronger than P and Z because if Board of Adjustments makes the decision,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah,
There is no place else to go, or you go to district court. If you don't like what the Board of Adjustments said, you have to go to district court, so.
So MDD City Parks and Rec, I mean, just all the conversations that
Mhm.
are happening, is ever like a state of the city address or just different?
The
things?
mayor does an annual report. He did an annual
we
report.
saw that. Oh, good.
We don't have joint meetings all the time, but we do have a joint meeting annually with the school district.
Mhm.
And it is very informative. We all attend different things. We'll do a chamber. The chamber will sponsor a chamber. I'll go to the banks.
Yep.
And then we give this information out as we meet with people but there's no real
Joint meeting.
joint meetings.
I mean, other than attending council meetings,
Yeah,
I mean, frankly. this
Or
board is
watching
the
them.
only one that does it regularly,
Yeah.
That does?
I've missed
does,
5,
maybe 6, you missed one.
I've missed 6 city council meetings since 2014.
And I
It's crazy.
I might have better attendance than some council members,
I bet you-
depending on the year, what's going on in their lives.
So I think, and I get where Aaron's coming, it's very hard to absorb all that's happening as we grow because there is a lot more wheels turning. So I think council is a good way to, where it all collectively comes together. And if you can't attend in person, they are
I
recorded,
always
you
go
can watch them,
pre-recorded.
yeah. But I think for me, I go to planning and zoning meetings so I can keep up with what's coming in and everything that's happening and it's gonna affect this and that. And then it all comes together at council. Cause even with, as MDD, it's hard, we're just one piece of the puzzle of building a community.
That's the city development meeting too,
No,
because you gotta see.
Oh, I'm on the development services or development review committee, and then y'all get that report each month.
Which is a major improvement from
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
while there's not a central cog, there is staff at every one of these meetings.
That's what Charles was doing.
And the MDD is my responsibility. I know Leanne comes, but we cannot keep Leanne. I told Leanne she's gonna have to stop, because she does P and Z and BOA.
Yeah.
And so this is extra for her, and we all have to do counseling, so we split them up.
And that's
We have
always
a-
been nice.
Yes, we have an employee, a Parks employee who does Parks Board. Leanne handles P and Z. Christine goes to P and Z. The city secretary does, she has turned over. Is she at P and Z?
Mhm.
Oh, she turned over Parks to
Board.
Christie,
Yeah.
to the assistant city
Library.
secretary, library board.
Board of
So
Adjustment.
we have all of these boards, but an employee is there.
Mhm.
And so all of the employees that attend these board meetings are part of the development services committee.
So they know.
And so, or the development
Review,
services
yeah.
review committee. And we do that every other Tuesday. So there is a cohesiveness to what we're doing. It's just not that the boards are all together. It's coming from staff.
And even that, the boards have changed drastically.
Mhm.
I mean, you've had a lot of boards that didn't even function, they were in name only because again, we couldn't get quorum.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had situations where we've done board training and we started it as a 3-part series, and during that 3-part series, half the board has left and been and had new people appointed.
Mhm.
And it's like you have to start over again.
Yeah,
So it's really tough, because especially for Board of Adjustment BOA, there's a lot of rules and laws involved in there. So one of the ways we do one of the things we do to combat that is we have an attorney at P and Z and we have an attorney at BOA. That way we're legal, we have a staff member, we have an attorney, and we have everybody together on the same page. And they staff it all before they get there. I don't wanna go into history, but we staff before we go to meetings. If you don't staff before the meeting, you end up staffing in the meeting, and the meeting ends up taking 3 hours, 4 hours, 5
Yeah.
hours, instead of 2 hours to handle it.
And that's how it was done in the past.
Mhm.
It was
Okay,
awful.
that makes sense. Obviously, it's a lot of information, understanding how.
It is.
moving
I'm
parts.
still figuring it all out. I mean, I'm driving around every day going, oh, wait, I never noticed that. Or I see something new that I think, oh, that rings a
I
bell.
noticed a trailer house on 377 yesterday morning that I have never noticed before in my life.
I didn't
I know,
see it.
and I thought that,
The same one
and
I
I'm
had
thinking
on
that
the
Valero
website.
sign was tall and it's been a monument sign the whole time. So
Did they clean it up or
Yeah.
something? It's like I'm driving around like, where'd that trailer house?
it's a
come from?
lot to absorb in this whole area.
Yeah.
Erin's constantly posting on her Instagram things. And I'm like, where is that? She goes, oh, it's right there off 720. I'm like, where'd that come from? It's- She keeps us in the loop.
Yeah,
when
she
drives
texts-
around.
You text me when something, something happened, so that's good, cause
I will tell you that for us, something in our favor is the Ace handyman that she was talking about. He sat next to me at the last chamber luncheon and we got to talking, and he said, I'm in Aubrey. I said, really? Where are you located in Aubrey? I didn't know you were in Aubrey. He said, well, on 380 where Savannah is at? I said, yes. He said, I'm right there in that. I said, oh, okay, you're not.
yeah. Well, and I
But
had,
everybody thinks they're on.
they do, and Elm Ridge, which is the old Savannah, is building a municipal building, by the way. I didn't know if y'all knew that, but they are. And I got the email for the company wanting to bid on their furniture. And I said, well, first of all, you're not in Aubrey, it's Elm Ridge, which used to be Savannah. But that's where nobody knows where Aubrey is, and I think that's gonna be the biggest challenge and maybe something we can come up with.
Well,
more
I think it
promptly.
helps us.
Well, it does help us. It's a name recognition for sure, but in terms of,
Standards.
yeah.
I think they're gonna support,
yeah,
we're gonna go buy donuts in Aubrey because like I wanna be
uh-huh.
the river of the city, and they're not, but it also helps that like, yeah, Aubrey.
I was in a store that was on our side of the city limit, and this lady was calling somebody, she says, I'm over at this store. And she mentioned the other town on the other side of the city limit. I said, no, you're actually in Aubrey. So people, they don't know boundaries, or they don't really think about them as much as we do, but
That's not that.
yeah. So I wanna, like, that's one of my things is just if we can help establish that, local, what is local Aubrey? Cause when we ask them to shop local and support that sales tax, they need to know which stores they're gonna be able to support.
Okay, we need number 9. I want to get y'all out of here.
Can we go through all of them one more time?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need number
Do we?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that's not, yeah, let's go through what we have.
Okay. So far, we have goal number 1 is land acquisition and investment. Keep in mind, this is a draft. We can change that if you want to later. And one of the things that Mike said was look for underutilized buildings or properties, which property is gonna be a little.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But
Number 2 was incentive policies. Number 3 is staff and board training. Number 4 was enhanced marketing through and professional experience. I don't know why I wrote professional experience.
I think it's the feel of the marketing.
Look, professional look, appearance.
Number 5 was BRE, like a 12-on-12, the chamber partnership.
Yeah.
The 3 C's, whatever she's calling it, shop local, support local, more marketing. Number 6 was analyze and promote real estate development or redevelopment opportunities. That was what we said. I think Vicki was talking about a company that could do some of that work for us. Did I miss that? Is that what we were saying?
Yeah,
It's kind of like building the inventory or keep it up. It's not them asking us, it's them asking others so that we have a resource.
Gotcha. Number 7 was to enhance our admin management and what? There's enhance. I stopped it and somebody must have said something too long. Stop right over there.
That was number 4 on the.
Enhance.
Reporting?
Does it say reporting?
Yeah.
That's the last page.
And we talked a little bit about the dashboard, so reporting is probably really.
Performance.
Oh, I had reporting. It's on the next one.
That's for you to go home.
It is. And one of the things we put under number 7 as an objective is director goals. Then we have number 8, provide community enhancements through that support business development. It's a monument sign, provide entry portal signage and at entry points, explore options for parks and recreation amenities, and start exploring our options now, not later. That's what I have thus far. The only thing we have not used on the sheet.
Haven't used 11 workforce programs.
We have not used 11 workforce youth programs.
We didn't use 10.
Correct. And we did not use number 8, did we? Enhance processes to improve economic development. I thought that was kind of.
That's kind of under,
We didn't use that.
I think
We were using
that-
more localized policies.
Yeah.
And 8 sort of kind of rolls into the strategic plan.
It
We don't know
does.
that that's necessarily.
So we can stop at 8. We can have 9 and 10. We can.
I think 8's good.
stop at 8 and come up with one more?
Well, we're on in the session, set the objectives anyways, and if we decide we want to add.
We've kind of already done this. We can,
So let's do this.
marketing packet.
I think some of these
Most of
two,
the objectives can fall within those.
I
Yeah,
think so.
because like the marketing packet, the traffic count, yeah.
some of that's gonna come under, when we do the comp plan stuff, we're gonna get some of this information as well. Like, and some of the reporting, like traffic plan and whatever, traffic pin or traffic counts and all that. I think that's gonna come under reporting on enhanced administrative and reporting efforts. Because that's where I'm doing it.
You have the agenda. What were you saying? The agenda. What were you saying? You were reading something.
Oh.
She was reading 9, 10, and 11.
Okay, the agenda.
Oh, actual?
The actual agenda.
Oh, here.
I got it right here.
we have on here, goals and objectives, staff expectations and direction, that'll be part of the objectives. Incentives, training, and board member training. All right, we covered all of them.
Cool.
So what I think I'll do, if you're good with this, I will go back, type this up into an outline format, and I'll give you blanks for all of the objectives. Send it to Christine, she can shoot it out to the board, and y'all can be thinking about it between now and the February meeting. And I think within an hour at the February meeting, I think we can throw down some objectives for the evening.
And this is to give, and just to recap, this is to give Christine guidance on what we're wanting to see within the next. What did we want to get? Do we want to do a time frame on this?
Well, I don't know, some of it, yes, I think you can put that on there, we'll put a time frame in parentheses if you want something to be short-term, short-term, medium and long. But, you know, as I've said before, I don't know if everybody's heard me say this, but if I'm repeating myself, sorry. But right now, we're working in this arena, we're doing this much, and we need to narrow that down. We need to get the scope down to what you want to work, what you want to focus on in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. And we can look at those objectives and we can give those short term. You know, I think there are some things that need to be done right away, marketing, for example.
Right.
I mean, we need to get some more marketing things done. I know that you're working on that. I'm not,
Yeah,
you're getting the shirts. One of the most important things to me is when you come to the chamber luncheon, you should be in your shirt that has
or
your
have a name
MDD,
tag.
or at least you have your name tag. And we can get those too. Do you have the same metal name tags?
Magnetic, the one that has a magnet.
Yeah. Christy just ordered me one. I actually have two. But I'm gonna ask her to order some for the board.
Okay, very good. That has the MDD. on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Logo, yeah.
I have one with the city logo and have another one with the MDD logo. I'll just wear
I
both.
have one with chamber and one with the city. I guess I need to get it.
Yeah.
So, I'll write this up. I'll get it sent out to Christine so she can send it to you in email sooner rather than later. We won't make it be a long time. Get it out to you so you can be thinking about the objectives. Like I say, I think we've got to narrow this scope down for what we're doing. Because sometimes Christine she's just bouncing off the walls trying to get things done. And we got to give her that direction of where you want to go as a board. Not me, the board has got to provide that direction and that consensus. And I think if we do that, we're going to see some very quick results on some of the things that are being done, because it's what the board wants. Now, I will say we're going to go meet with the council at some point and have a joint session, but the council's not going to tell you, I don't like that goal. I don't see that happening. You're all in this together. So I think that it's just that's an exercise in what you're talking about, is that we're all together on the same page. You get to hear from the council gets to hear from you, and then we just go from there. And I think Christine, you know, with defined goals and a defined scope, I think she would be
It would be great.
better equipped to do the things that the board wants done.
Also think 8 goals as we have them. I think when you were talking about 9, 10, 11, I was looking at what those entail, and some of those can be objectives under some of these 8
Yes.
goals, and
Yeah.
be a lot easier to manage.
That's fine. I mean, the objectives are the most important part. The goal is just the overall.
Right.
Working through those objectives
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
Exactly.
So I think if we get that done next time, we're really good. And then maybe you do this every year, where you say in January, let's at at your January meeting, you say, hey, well, we're gonna update our goals.
Yeah.
On an
And-
annual
And
basis.
see what we've done.
And these documents are living, working documents. We can look at it anytime during the year. If y'all say, we need to reevaluate something, or where are we on the strategic plan? In 6 months, we could say, okay, where are we on these goals? And let's do a mid-year report.
You could do a mid-year, and I agree with that, but you also, in your January meeting or your December meeting, I think that one of the goals for the director would be, or one of the objectives for the director would be to provide a report card to the board on what has been accomplished. What have we done? What percentage have we finished?
Yeah.
Before you say that, when's our report to the city council's August or September?
We had
Yeah, oh, you mean our annual
we do an
report?
annual report to
Oh,
city council.
yeah, we
I don't know
do.
when it's due.
That goes with our
We
budget.
haven't done one
It's one of
since.
those 2 months. And we should probably, if we're gonna
read
do like
that.
an annual review, we should probably tie it to that.
Yeah.
It would make more sense to, the month before that, you're reporting to us,
Mhm.
and the month, or maybe that same month, but
Mhm.
probably the month before, right? Because we would have another chance to take a bite at it before if there's a problem. Then you're reporting to city council where we're at. So if our, I think it's September.
Well, our fiscal year ends September, so would it make sense to do our annual, we have to have our annual report written and done by November for city, just overall annual report. If-
We present to.
But if we presented, so I see what you're saying, but if we did our thing in December, cause that's, we get all of our numbers in and everything's, yes, but I don't think it mentions a month.
Well,
It just says
it
each
just makes sense.
year.
If we're gonna do a review, we should do it prior to the presentation to council. And I know that's probably not something you want to get in this room with, 30 seconds over, but we might not want to target January, we might want to target prior to city council.
So would you wanna, we can talk about that, I
Yeah,
guess,
talk
with city
about-
council schedule and put it on.
I think it's a good idea. You want
Put it
to put
on.
those things together.
Yes.
And then what
February
that gives
agenda.
me the opportunity to do, if you do that in the late summer, then I attach that to the performance evaluation that we do in September. So that is a better way to do that.
So mid-year fiscal year for us is March. But if we're not setting our goals till December, January,
Well, nothing says you have to wait till.
We have an annual
Yeah.
report, I'm saying, we should do this before our annual, and we're probably not gonna get through everything. If we finish setting this, say we get done in February, we feel good about it. Right, and our report to city council is August, I think. But
Just do it annually.
but say, look, here's where we're at, these are the goals we're working towards,
Yeah.
but we would be, and then that's when we create the cadence.
mhm,
Is, we might review again in January,
mhm.
and then our report to, your report to us is in July or August, prior, and then report to city council, and then review in January, and just.
I just know July and August are busy budget times for council meetings and stuff, so that's all I was
That's
thinking
always gonna
about.
be true, but I mean, if that's.
That will
what
be
we
okay.
report-
Okay,
We'll be okay.
okay,
You don't, it doesn't have to be a 45-minute report.
No.
It's not
Right,
like the police and
right.
Fire, that actually takes 45 minutes.
We're
Oh, yeah.
not doing it. No, we're not gonna do
Like, you know,
it.
that-
No, I approached the council about it and asked them what their preference was. I said, before when we had 3 directors or 4 directors, I said, now we have 9. How do you want to do this? And they said, let's just do it at budget time. So,
A lot of changes though there too. I mean,
Yeah.
from having like 4 police officers
Yeah.
to
How many y'all
all
have?
over everywhere.
we're authorized 30.
Yeah,
I think he's got 3 openings, so he's at 26,
Nice.
right? Oh, 27, or 27.
and again, that's just, shoot, even when you.
Oh, I always do appreciate it.
When I was here, it was 13 when I walked through the door.
So I mean, it's a lot of change.
A lot of change, but we discussed that, a couple of them. I just approached them and said, hey, what do you think about this? Do you want to, especially the mayor as well? Do you want to do this as a, you want to, because it's time for us to set the months on who's going to do what month. And I think the council appreciates the faster pace of the meetings and the meetings that don't last until midnight.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we're gonna roll that into our budget presentations to the council. You have a 10 or 15-minute presentation of what you've accomplished.
That being said though, I also,
Would that still be included like the, I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, I appreciate when we do take the time and don't try to rush through these meetings, because I understand that you guys have been doing this all day, but if we're not, and we have to look at documents and we're doing that in our spare time from our jobs, to be honest, I really don't care if we've been sitting here for 4 hours, if we're still being productive.
Right.
Productive.
I don't disagree, and I don't like it rushed. I like it faster pace. And the way to do that is you staff things before they get there.
Agreed.
That way you have that information. You know, maybe we need to create the situation for MDD where we're doing, what we're doing for the council is they get their agenda a week before. They get a draft a week before the meeting, so that they can review the documents through that time.
Before it's posted?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a draft.
And we used to do that when we had Jason and Brett. And at the same time, I mean, we shouldn't be sitting here reading the documents during the meeting. I mean, I came
Right.
tonight with my questions already looked at. And I'm not saying that I do that every single time, because don't get me wrong, there are some times when I'm like, I didn't talk.
So do you have an issue with putting out a draft agenda a week before the meeting and then?
No,
we
I-
Post 70.
That would be better, because then that like prevented that would have prevented what happened this past week, you know?
Yeah, I have Alicia usually review it and before we post it to make sure there's not any question about an action item or something on there. But if it's a draft and it's not being posted, I can send that out.
Yeah.
The most important thing are the
Then the-
attachments.
In the yeah, I
The
can,
attachments are the
yeah.
most important thing.
Right.
Because that's what we want the
Right,
council
yeah.
to see.
I usually have most of that ready by the Wednesday, Thursday before the meeting, so 4-5 days out. I emailed it, this time I emailed it on Friday instead of a Monday, so that was
We'll see
good,
if we
but
can-
Well, but you have to have it posted but what we're talking about is you have to have it posted though by Friday, right? Thursday.
Friday.
Right,
yeah.
Friday.
And so-
no, y'all want it by like Monday before that,
Yeah,
a
so
week
that we
before,
can
that's fine.
change
If I can get
things.
my documents, like the lease and stuff, I didn't have done until Wednesday of last week. Cause Alicia was gone, so,
Well, that's okay. I
yeah,
mean,
so there's some documents,
changes.
You're
yeah.
never gonna get the financials that are.
yeah, there's some documents, we're just not gonna have that far out, but others we can.
All right.
Just do your financials a month behind,
I
just
think
like
that,
you did tonight.
Yeah,
We're gonna see December now.
Well, there's times we're gonna be able to, because the way that it works, Mike can get it done, and it's probably 3, maybe 4 times a year that it just happens that Mike can get it to us, which is great, I see no reason to wait. But when it's not, and then, you know, in the case of the e-card stuff, that needs to be done. Like
Yeah.
if that, well, no, it's probably just too early, but, you know, if it's all ready, great, let's do it. I don't like waiting. But
don't put it, but if it's
Well,
not
let's see if we can
complete,
let's see if we can do a 7-day, just like we do
I'm
for
sure,
the
I'm fine
council.
with that.
And get them that information so that they have time to review it, because it's just like being a council member.
Mhm.
You need that extra time.
Yeah. I have struggled getting it on Thursday sometime and then.
I struggled this week.
Plans and stuff going, you know, an extra couple of days would be helping to kind of review it.
Well,
So,
where this came from was the council, when we had council meetings on Tuesday and it was posted on Friday, the council had the weekend to look at things. But when we went to a Thursday council meeting, we post on Monday, that gives them no weekend time whatsoever. When they're having a sleepless night and they need something to read and knock them out.
that'll do it.
So that's what that was born out of. So I like the 7 days.
I do too.
The 7 days to give you the.
Well, then it gives, yeah, then it would have given us time to talk about it too, so
Mhm.
it would just be best to do something.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can. I do. In terms of staffing things ahead of time, some stuff, I just need a straw poll. I don't need to, can I just do a straw poll individually? Or is that, no, okay.
No.
I say, we did one in a meeting
You
one
can-
time, but it
You
was in a
can
meeting.
Communicate with the board. Individually.
Yeah. I do the blind copy.
But you cannot do a straw poll. You can get consensus during a meeting, just
Yeah.
like we just did.
Right.
Y'all like
Yeah.
7 days? Oh,
Yeah.
sure, yes.
Okay.
We did
That's
vote on it, but
consensus.
we all-
yeah, the straw poll we did is during budgeting,
Yeah,
and
and that was
that was
in a
for, like,
meeting.
we're gonna set, that was in a meeting, it was a public
Yeah.
vote, it's not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So some stuff we'll still have to deliberate on in a meeting and it may take longer, but if I can get y'all as much information and choices or whatever beforehand, that would help with some of the.
Well, you'll be
deliberation.
able to answer questions individually for
Mhm,
Vicky
mhm.
and for Jesse and for Aaron, for anybody that has a question that they see something, then that's staffing before
Right.
you get to the meeting.
Yeah.
And then you've got all of that information. You've talked to that
Mhm.
person and
Yeah.
you've communicated.
Yeah.
It's much easier.
Well, I can definitely there's, like I said, unless it's a document I have to go over with Alicia, it's usually I can get that stuff to y'all pretty quickly.
Cool.
So,
Well, look at that, we went over.
Yeah.
I was hoping for 8:30. I knew we couldn't do 8. I know you said
8:36. It's only 6 minutes.
Does anyone have any future agenda items?
So I just need to add the resignation to Carolyn. I think there was something on the prior one about the mural.
This, and then this, yeah, mural.
So,
I think we should just take the mural off.
You rolled it in February,
Yeah.
rolling it to.
We rolled it in
February.
February. just-
I think we did March, didn't we, or?
No,
it's
it said,
February.
y'all said
Do
February.
we need to-
February,
do we need to roll
February,
it?
roll it in.
well,
That way it
Do we
doesn't.
just cross it
I don't
off?
lose visibility on it. I mean,
Okay,
Just put it on
What-
February and then we can.
Because
roll it on.
we were talking earlier about monument signs, like 428, a
Okay.
monument sign is
Mhm.
problematic because it's exile action, but a mural could function as our downtown.
And we eventually need to talk about the lot and the space in between and what do we want to do, maybe to fix up or do something,
Yeah.
enhance it a little bit. Maybe make, and maybe make a little step and a little sidewalk out the door.
So then
Certainly future emergencies.
we do need to
I know,
add
I had to empty the trash out
the
there.
December financials.
Yes, ouch. Well, I always do that too. I'll just always have
Yeah,
it on
that's
there. If
good.
y'all didn't approve it in consent, I'm putting it back on there. So it
Work
doesn't have to
session
be. a separate-
continued.
For a second.
So mural RFP work session continued. I'll give you all the completed December financials. We need to put on, reviewing applicants for MDD.
You will pull old applicants, right?
Yes, I don't have any, but yes, I will
There
pull
are some.
Do we want,
that we didn't
The
accept.
the last one we had,
I know that some, I know, okay.
well, so we had Mike,
Oh, yeah.
and we had Aaron.
Yeah,
and then
we
that was it. We
accepted
had
the two we got
Okay.
before.
We had a second opening.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
have any applications that have,
We do.
Because you have, this is a ETJ open.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be.
yeah,
Doesn't
so
have to be, but it could be.
Yes.
But
So you-
remember, we filled that position, so right now, you're the only ETJer left on this board.
for some balance, it might,
Not
for some
what I'm
balance,
saying.
it might be a good idea to look at ETJ, but
That's what I'm
I'll put
saying.
the post out tomorrow on
Clear that.
social media.
Can include ETJ.
Well, we can take applications from anybody in the city and ETJ. It's just what y'all decide when
Yeah,
y'all
for
view
sure.
them. So I'm just gonna put review applicants for the board. Slash resignation.
Cool.
do we need to review the chamber lease or you just?
Do we want to wait another month?
We can do that in March or April because their lease is up in May, so I need to just talk to Jana.
Should we make that future agenda request and just put March next to it, so you've got the record?
Yeah.
Or March
Yeah.
slash April?
Yep.
Anybody else?
Any development or other executive session type items that,
No,
I don't know, we can put that as a future, but
y'all missed one last.
yeah, so.
We can, if there's any development in that one item we discussed the last time,
Could you
we'll put it back on.
Because, well, Mark was there in December, right?
Yes,
Cause I was thinking, like, I wasn't.
yes, yeah.
Jesse already knows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
so,
I'm giving an example.
Okay.
I wasn't,
Yeah.
so like,
That's what I.
if we had had one tonight and Mark missed it, we could give Mark a.
Will we
Fine,
have
catch up.
some executive sessions to put on next month?
Oh, it's too early to tell.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well.
But we'll put it on in a way that we can review and kind of recap, because I might have something after going to ICSC, you know, so. Let
it's good
me,
to kind of fill in.
yeah, sure, a
And
summary.
it might not, and one of the things you might have is like a placeholder, we don't need it, or it's literally 5 minutes where.
We always have that placeholder, just so y'all know, Alicia and I talked about this.
Yeah,
She said, anytime, because we have this placeholder at the bottom of our agenda, anytime we want to go into an executive session in the meeting, we can do that. So we don't have to have it necessarily listed, but if something comes up in conversation and we need to go in exec, we have that right.
mhm.
Okay. Is that it?
I make the motion to adjourn at 8:41.
I have a motion by Vicky, second by Mike, all in favor? Motion passes 5-1.
Can I have the red lines or?
You have a plan?
That's the gavel. No, she got to turn off the recording.
Do you have
Oh,
a plan?
hold on.
Like the official,
Hold on, sorry, I stopped.
or the instant.